we go, boys. Here we go.
Here we go. Another week. Cage and Canvas, episode 7. Episode 7. Wow. Approaching episode 10. You're going to do the announcement, the Max Holloway announcement, before we even kick off.
Well, like I'm Bruce Buffer.
Just like you did it before we started recording about 5 minutes ago.
Nah, I'm under a lot of pressure now. Plus, we have to work our way up to the main card anyway.
Oh, no.
We'll get there.
It was just such a natural moment that I just thought it would have been so better if it was captured.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it is captured. It's captured there, but
maybe I'll find it.
It's not on the pod. When am I going to work? We're working our way up. Don't worry.
Okay, so maybe at some point we'll see it.
You never know.
Anyway, boys.
There's no alcohol in this, unfortunately, so...
Is there none?
There's no alcohol in this. It's just Coca-Cola.
So what are you
Zero?
Coke Zero. Me and JD represent the UFC every single week with Monsters, the official sponsor.
Yeah, please sponsor us.
Yeah.
I'll be up all night if
That'd
I drink one of those by the time we record. So I think I made the mistake a couple episodes of drinking one of those, and I just it
was a rough night for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
What flavour have you got, J-Dog?
I've got peach nectarine.
Peach nectarine. I haven't tried that one.
Well, you've tried the non-sugar one.
Yeah.
You have tried this before,
It's different,
I
I think.
The can's got a much nicer design on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Juiced.
I haven't had this one. This is the first time I've had this one, the Ultra Fiesta Mango. You got it for me. It's really nice, actually.
Yeah, it is very nice, yeah.
I might switch onto this instead of the peach.
It's nice, right?
Yeah.
Very sweet.
Packed full of
the
caffeine.
peach for me is good because I admittedly drink at least 1 monster a day. This is probably number 3.
With the sugar or without the sugar?
Well, the ones today were without sugar, and obviously this one is with, which is probably the wrong way around to do it, considering we've got to sleep this evening. So
You'll be fine. You barely sleep anyway. You're a light sleeper.
Night owl.
Speaking of nights, the UFC at the weekend started at 7 o'clock. I was so happy about that.
Oh, yes.
it's very good.
Yeah.
JD
Very
expressed his love for that last week. I'm not sure if everyone caught the F-bomb there.
Yeah. I blurred it out when I didn't. I bleeped it out in last week's
It was
episode.
quite
On the video, you did, but on the spot, you didn't.
No, but I
They're
marked
raw live on the spot.
if you want the natural version. But I marked it
disclaimer.
as explicit and not made for kids.
Okay.
So don't worry.
All Karens do not watch.
There won't be any fines coming. But anyway, F and blind all you want. I don't really care. It's a free speech here. Did you watch the fight, though? Did you watch the fights, the UFC, the card?
Of course I did. I was here.
You were with me.
In the studio.
In this
AKA
very room.
Ted Zivey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all the boys.
Me, you and the boys, yeah.
Yes. us
Having
the
a good
boys.
old time. Good to see
Shocker,
everyone.
But the boys this is interesting. The boys that we watched it with, not really into UFC.
Not really, but I think if there was a card that would essentially put them towards liking UFC, was definitely this one. It was a very good card to put on.
They loved it.
No,
they loved it. They were invested. I mean, a guy, one of our friends, Saul, we won't name any more names, but he does not watch anything, nothing combat. He doesn't watch boxing, UFC, wrestling, nothing. But he was invested in the co-main event. He was sat there.
Well, he was invested in the main card throughout, to be fair.
Yeah.
Especially invested in Shara, but we'll talk about that shortly.
Yeah.
I'll that's actually kind of interesting, to be fair, because I was supposed to be here. I just couldn't be bothered after the weekend's events, to be honest.
Always nice to spend time with you, Adrian.
Sorry, man. I do love you guys, but
it's good to see you.
Housework
Just on a weekly
takes
basis.
priority, unfortunately.
You sent me through a picture of you dressed in some kind of flipping science.
Oh,
sorry, my mic went. Some kind of science lab suit in your bedroom. Let me tie this up.
Yeah, I think I do. You know what? I actually saw your brother when I was doing some stuff the other day, and I was basically going to the dump, and I had that same suit.
To the
on.
dump or to have a dump?
No,
Sorry.
I was going to the tip. I should
to the
say.
tip. Yeah.
And I saw your brother, and I was wearing that same suit, and he was like, "You look like you've come from a nuclear power plant, man."
Were you walking the street in it?
No, it was just on my drive.
What was you doing? Changing insulation or just taking stuff out your loft?
Yeah, just doing the whole loft stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was basically in there all night. I won't bore everyone with the story, but after that, I was up there for hours.
The mask that you were wearing, it made you look like you were cooking. You know, kind of Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be
it's a
sharing
great
that
look.
between ourselves afterwards.
Walter White.
That's great look.
But so after being there for hours, I was just like, my back was messed up, my knees were messed up. So I was just like, I'm just going to chill here and watch the fights. Plus, I didn't think these guys would be invested, so it's interesting. I actually, before we actually get into the card, like, what was everyone's takes with watching it? Because obviously, like you say,
Yep.
you being on the other side of the coin point now. I was trying to get you into UFC for ages, and obviously you were saying about the time, and you didn't know who the people were. Considering that these guys probably didn't know who any of these guys were.
Yeah,
that's correct.
What were their takes?
Well, a couple of them knew Max Holloway, knew of him.
Okay,
but I don't think they knew anybody else, did they, J-Dog?
No.
That was probably the big name.
It was the big name that they would have known on this card.
Yeah.
Obviously, Max Holloway's been around a long time.
Yeah,
long time.
Even he fought Conor McGregor as well.
But some of them were shocked at what they saw.
Oh yeah,
shocked.
Specifically, touching on Shara. I mean, the fact to explain to the guys that he is allowed to fight with one eye.
Yeah.
And from what you mentioned last week of him, only being able to fight in Abu Dhabi and the Emirates.
They couldn't believe it.
And Riyadh and stuff. Because of the commission and for over the US, so you can't fight there because of that. That sort of intrigued them a bit as well. So obviously, it's not just fights. There's reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot
to sort of explain as well, which can get people invested.
There's a lot that kind of comes in the whole makeup of everything, really. I guess we don't talk about boxing, but it's been a conversation with like all the fights that have been happening over in the Far East recently. The fights that haven't been able to be made in the US either because of finances or sometimes between dirty tests and stuff like that. That's been happening with I think Conor Ben and. Eubank situation. So that's another one. Like they've sort of had to work with the commissions, and I think now they're looking at doing it Far East because I think Conor Ben's had some trouble over there. So Shara's kind of taking advantage of that situation, I guess, which is good for him because he's building a name for himself. Obviously, he's like. Because of his look, first of all, he is straight away.
He looks insane.
It's his. Yeah.
Sorry, man. I thought
you were.
Sorry. I was moving.
I thought you were gonna. Don't worry.
That's fine.
No. But because of like his overall like look, he just looks like a kind of intimidating guy. So
when I go, he looks like a movie.
He looks like if you was to pass him down, look past him in the middle of the night, or sort of like you're walking down an alley, you would not want to walk into him.
Mate, I'd have no fear.
Absolutely not.
I'd have no fear.
I'd run 1,000 miles.
Zero fear. And then they start talking. But the guys loved it that we're here.
So they loved it.
Yeah, they loved the impact.
They know Max Holloway.
They saw the fights. They know Max Holloway. But yeah, some of them just couldn't believe the impacts that these guys take in that cage. They were thinking like long-term injury, brain damage. There was a lot of discussion about that.
I think we got some fans. I think we made some fans.
Yeah,
Saturday.
But it just goes to show, like this was shown at 7 p.m, which is a rare thing for UFC in the UK.
Yep.
The audience that could actually garner from this country if it was shown at a reasonable time, I think is there because the boxing is so big here. But for me, this is more exciting than boxing.
It's availability, and it can be. But then at the same time as well, like I think everybody, when you're giving those people those easy fights to watch, where it's predominantly striking, and as long as there's going to get a finish, because the same thing happens in boxing as well. Sometimes you end up cruising their way to a win, and then sometimes as well, you might have those fights where sometimes guys are so evenly matched that. On the surface, to people who are casually watching, it's like it's a boring fight. But then when you start getting a bit more invested and you start to realize the nuances and how talented some of these guys are, even though there's not much happening, because they're almost nullifying themselves out, it kind of gives it a different level of understanding. But I just wanted to get their takes on how they handled everything. So
they walked away with good feedback for UFC.
Yeah, I think as long as there's more availability to UK fans, I think that there will garner more UK fans.
Well, that's down to Dana White.
Yeah.
That's down to Dana White.
Yes.
When he goes, because he makes it very clear he wants to take it everywhere, want to take UFC everywhere, Spain, Africa, all these different time zones, different places. Start the cards in the time zone that you're in, because then it's going to allow more availability for the rest of the world.
And it's not just, obviously we can watch UFC.
No F-bombing. No F-bombing.
No. I'm not going to... We can... We can watch UFC on catch up. We can watch it the next day. We have that, but just having it at a time that suits us in the evening. It brings the social aspect of it in, and that's where you gain the fans
massively
as well. That's a very big avenue of gaining the fans.
And WWE does that. So under the TKO umbrella, because this is a TKO podcast, WWE does that.
Yep.
Whichever country they go to, they start their card in the time zone they're in. So when it went to France for Backlash, when it was in Australia for Elimination
Berlin.
Chamber, Saudi this weekend. I mean, we're going to be able to watch it in our time, and it's comfortable. It's a lot better. And the Americans can still catch it. They can still get it.
Yeah, they get to have an early night for them as well.
Yes.
Like they get to go around there, like they get to still have their evening because it gets to 5 o'clock for them, and your day of watching UFC's wrapped up, which is quite nice. So it works for everybody.
Yeah, Germany, Bash in Berlin. Sorry, another one.
I think, Manchester was obviously a one-off. Yep. Which we were very frustrated with. We had to deal with. But I think Manchester was a one-off because most of the time whenever they do the other shows in London, they've just showed them at the regular time.
Yeah.
But I think unlike the WWE situation, UFC just need to do more of these international shows.
Without
They obviously do the Abu Dhabi cards like once every year. They do the London card once every year, but they've done it twice in 1 year as well. Mm-hmm. They also do UFC Paris, and then they've stopped doing a few others. I remember when I was trying to get you watching, they had done a few that were over in various different areas in Russia, because obviously they got a lot of Russian fighters and stuff like that. So they had a few of those one-off, but they don't really do much outside of those 4 or 5 cards, London, Paris, the Abu Dhabi card,
Berlin,
it's just.
I'm sure they'll start.
Yeah, TKO will start pushing that more.
Well, it should do. It works with the business model, doesn't it, and what they're doing. So.
TKO, we want more international cards.
That's Ariel. Ariel needs to sort that out.
Yep, Ariel, Dana, Hunter,
Nick Khan, Triple H, Demlock.
Yep.
That little consortium, sort it out.
Sort it out.
But no, it's been a great weekend. I suppose that brings us on to the card then, in what UFC 308, what happened. If we want to have a little rundown of it, AJ, over to you.
So, just as I started watching,
go on.
I had to go back and catch up because you actually shared the first post to do with this, which was on the prelims. We're not going to cover too much on the prelims.
Hang on.
I didn't catch this.
That wasn't me. That was him.
That was me.
Oh, it was you.
Yeah. Yep. I don't want anything pointed this way for that.
The second I started watching...
No spoilers coming out of this department ever.
The second I started watching, I started catching the prelims, sort of midway
AJ was
through.
up in his loft.
AJ was up in his loft. And the second I watched the first fight that I saw, immediately on the WhatsApp.
No, I just got all the insulation dust all off of me, and then I just see this ballooned up face, 2 ballooned up faces of that JD had shared. But to be fair, I don't actually mind getting the UFC spoilers because the way that I am with UFC is just like I'm all in. So if I'm not watching it, then if somebody's gonna give me a spoiler, I'm gonna try and avoid it as much as possible. But I was getting ready to tune in, and then he shared that, so I wasn't too fussed. But the first one, that was the fight of the night. I can't remember. You got to bring up the names just so I don't mess up the pronunciations there.
Was this a prelim fight? Was it?
Mateusz Rebecki, yeah.
Okay.
It
Mateusz
Rebecki and Miktabek.
Yes.
Oralbai. Yeah.
Oralbai, yeah.
Is that actually how you pronounce his name? So Oralbai.
Yeah, he's from Kazakhstan.
And how do you pronounce his first name? So, take a guess.
Miktabek.
Mitchabek, I'd say.
Miktabek.
Do you notice how the commentators were just calling him Oralbai the whole time? They didn't even want to try and say his first name.
You'd need to know someone from Kyrgyzstan who could
pronounce
that name. And that's no knock, by the way. We generally
absolutely. It's just the way it is.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or if we are, we're just having a shot in the dark at it.
We had a good attempt.
But that was the majority of the blood on the canvas for the rest of the night was due to this fight.
Yeah.
There was blood absolutely everywhere. Their eyes were swollen.
Yeah.
I don't think Oralbai could actually... It didn't look like he could actually see out of either eye.
It was an absolute war, wasn't it?
It was a big war and, respectively, fight of the night as well.
Mm-hmm. He must have had a broken orbital because normally that's what happens when you end up getting a swelling of that kind of nature. But yeah, I thought that was... When you sent that over and then at the end of it, Dana was saying that is one of the fight of the night. That is the fight of the night.
Yeah.
And it's on the prelims. That's a big statement. So you're probably going to start seeing these guys now. They didn't even have a ranking that was attached to it because it was obviously catch weight.
Yeah.
But when you're going to end up getting a fight of the night, you're going to start creeping to the top of the prelims if you can keep building on that.
So what is catch weight in weight terms?
So catch weight will basically mean it's between the weight classes, and that could be for any particular reason. So what will happen is if a fighter is injured and a person is halfway through cutting weight and they can find a replacement but they're not in the weight class. So say, for example, if you fight at 170 pounds and I fight at 185 pounds and your fight with JD fell apart, you're both going to fight at 170. If you had started cutting weight, they'll say you can fight Anthony at 180.
Right.
He's going to come down 5 pounds. You can go up 5 pounds. Okay. So it's catch weight.
Okay, I get you. So would these fights be kind of put together last minute for cards then? Really?
So normally that's if it's a catch weight, that is what happens. Yeah. Dana has said in the past that he hates catch weight fights because he thinks it doesn't mean anything. I disagree.
I disagree massively with that.
Hasn't there been catch weights as well when a fighter that they're due to fight each other has missed weight?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what happened with one of Khamzat's fights. Yeah, because we'll obviously get further into that as well. But he's notoriously had problems with cutting weight. So when the doctors were worried about him cutting more weight because, you know, unfortunately, as sad as it is, people end up with serious health problems because of cutting weight because they're just basically extracting water out of their body.
Yeah. Someone wrap themselves up, don't they? And loads of
some people in one championship. A guy they had to change the rules because somebody died. Because basically, what you're doing is you're taking all the
water out of your body, man.
Just that all the electrolytes. No electrolytes. It's dangerous stuff.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Chimaev has had problems with doing stuff at catch weight, and when they have problems and the doctors say we don't want you cutting any more weight, they'll say to the opponent, okay, you're not going to fight at the agreed 170 anymore. You're going to fight at 180 pounds.
Yep.
So yeah,
we'll let them carry on because but that's the first fight I actually caught of the card anyway. It's the first one I put on when I switched my TV.
That was
I was about halfway through the first round, I think, and they were already just. I mean, they were battered, bruised. I mean, that was intense.
I mean, Rebecca was putting the hurt on him big time as well.
Yeah, both.
But he, I think Orobai did well to sort of keep in the game, but it was an absolute war.
It was.
And it was very enjoyable from I want to see people hurt each other perspective.
Yeah, and the kind of the animalistic... At the end of the day, like, there's some fights... I think the main fight is one of those, and even the co-main... do you know what? All of the fights that were on the main fights, they were good examples of super technical stuff.
Yeah.
But every now and then you're going to see those ones that are just complete sluggers that are just
brawls.
You know, they're brawls. They're a bit more kind of animalistic in a certain kind of way. But I had to catch that fight afterwards because I was just kind of tuning in there, and then I saw that it went to a split decision, so it was fairly contested from what I understand.
And that just goes to show that it doesn't need to be a knockout for a good fight, Adam.
Hey, tell that to Adam.
With two fights on the main card went to decision, and they were absolute bangers as well.
He's bloodthirsty. That's what he is. He's a bloodthirsty vampire who can't contain himself. He's been watching so many people. He's been watching so many people blade over the years. Adam's like, give me the blood, give me the knockout.
Give me the blood. Mate, it adds to a fight. It adds to the spectacle. When you see blood in fights on the mat, coming out of them, it adds to the intensity. You like that word, J-Dog? Intensity.
I love intensity.
Yeah, it adds
intensity
to it.
Intensity is my middle name, man.
But look, I'm going to come away from the whole knockout thing. I think I said that last week. I'm not necessarily... Okay, the knockout will always make it better, won't it? It will always make it
entertaining, yeah.
It will always make it more entertaining. It would that moment, anyway, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
There's other...
prime example.
I do also now begin to appreciate a fight that ends in decision that's been good.
Yeah, you just want to...
I'm getting there.
You want to see a fight that's showing technical ability that's fairly contested.
And they've got that dog in them as well, that proper dog fight.
Yeah,
I like seeing it.
I love it.
Yeah. Did you guys also see the injury with Dos Anjos?
Dos Anjos,
that's probably the end of his career now, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people saying that he should hang it up.
His knee, wasn't it?
His knee gave out. Yeah, from a kick or something. He kicked and then his knee gave out. Or he moved back and.
So how did it go? How did it go? Because I remember seeing it, but I wasn't completely invested in it. So he was just on his feet, wasn't he?
Yeah,
it happened in the first minute 50.
I caught the clip. It was. I didn't again, like I say, because I was kind of tuning in.
Yeah.
I only caught the clips of it, but I thought it was either a knee or it was an ankle. I can't remember.
Definitely his knee.
It was. Yeah.
It's a shame for him. Because he's been around for a while, isn't he? But he was saying that it's not over yet, I read somewhere.
Yeah, he's...
It's like a couple, man.
He's kind of... I think he's had a few injuries along the way, so over the years, it's been hard for him to actually fight and actually keep his place in the rankings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's close to 40 now.
Yeah.
So...
When you get to that kind of age, injuries like that, I mean, that would normally finish you off, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it at that point. Because your body's just a different place. It's in a different condition. It's just, and recovering from them kind of injuries, they'll never recover to their obviously their full potential, I suppose.
Yeah, it depends on the level of the injury, and the road to rehab is a long one, depending on what it is. So I haven't done any reading as to what the injury is, but I know that you are exactly right. He said that he's not necessarily bowing out from fighting. Right,
I'm not fucking leaving.
Exactly. Insert Leonardo DiCaprio right there. But yeah, you started off Shara.
Wow,
you seem like you're a big fan.
I mean, it was a spectacular knockout, with the double back elbows. That, and that was, again, going back to how people on Saturday that were here watching it with us hadn't really watched or been fans of UFC beforehand, explaining to them that this guy's only got one eye, and then seeing him knock out Petrosian like that is it just goes to show that UFC is good to watch, and that obviously there's a story behind his eye. And they were just always questioning, how is he fighting with one eye? How can he fight with one eye? And it's like, well, you'll see. He's undefeated with one eye.
He's a walking story, isn't he?
The thing is, Arman was you could definitely tell how that affects somebody as well, because when you actually saw when Arman was jabbing, he is obviously jabbing that eye, and yeah, I can understand why the doctors wouldn't necessarily may not want to permit that kind of level of fighting, because he was taking a lot of damage, especially on that side from when I was paying attention to the striking.
The jabs were getting to him.
Yeah. It's a good strategy
his eye. Well, it should be anyone.
Take advantage of the situation.
But imagine, like Shara Magomedov, as good as he is, obviously he's undefeated. Is he undefeated?
Yeah, he's undefeated. Still undefeated.
Imagine how good he would be with two eyes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He gained a rank after this, I believe. So, it's just one of those things. But listen, I've got a clip here of him actually training on his open workouts, open sparring with the double back. It was just crazy how...
Oh yeah,
he's obviously incorporated that into the match.
Yeah, that's actually a really good adjustment, actually, because if you actually go back to that the start of that video, he does a double elbow on this one, but in the actual fight, he does an elbow and then a back fist. Look, elbow first, back fist to finish.
Well, I thought it was his elbow.
So if you go back and look at the one where he's in the fight, he does elbow on the first, bang. And then backhand on that one. So he does a back fist. So it's quite a good adjustment.
And he's so quick with it as well, isn't he? He's rapid. Like, he just explodes out of nowhere. Like, even like his foot. So we see his foot movement. Like, when he just makes that spin, it doesn't look like he's facing a position where he'll be able to rotate like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He done it
his hips.
with the hips. Yeah.
I mean, he gauged where he was with the first elbow, and then bang.
There was a lot of talk kind of just from when he threw the elbow and the hips were already loaded, and then into the back fist. When you actually saw the slow motion, the first elbow or the back fist didn't actually. You could tell that Arman sort of. He took the hit, but he wasn't too affected by it. But when you saw he landed the second one, the one that actually knocked him out, man,
hit him with a 1-2.
Yeah,
when they played it in slow mo,
impact.
There was impact, an echo of ooh throughout the room, wasn't there?
But that's the thing.
Those sounds were made, and I was like, yeah, these boys are going to love this.
They're always made when there's a
watch the rest of the card, boys.
The commentators were loving it because obviously they'd never seen a double backhand knockout before. Nobody had ever seen a double backhand performed in a fight, let alone a double backhand knockout. So fair play to Shara. I saw that they were saying that if anybody ever pulls that off, it's got to be called the Bullet now.
The Bullet. What a name.
Okay.
That suits, actually.
I agree with that. Well, he is the Bullet, man.
He's coined it.
He's the one-eyed Bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a haymaker.
The single bullet.
He said he wants to fight again before the end of the year, though. He wants Dana to give him another one, doesn't he?
He wants Adesanya, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he had very broken English, but he called out Adesanya. I saw Adesanya when he was doing the watch back. He told him keep his name out. Keep my name out your fucking mouth. But he was laughing when he said it. I think it was quite funny.
Keep my name out your fucking mouth, Adesanya said. Yeah.
He wants to do the Khamzat. He wants to go from 14
What the fuck did I do?
to 3.
What you say fuck me for? Fair play. That's a fight I wouldn't mind seeing, though. Is he in Magomedov?
Shara needs to build there, man. He needs a ranking. He needs a ranking.
Yeah, he's got a ranking now.
Izzy's established. Have they moved him up?
Yeah, he's here. Look,
I think it's worth checking 14th. The rankings after every card. Yeah, Shara is up to 14th.
14, okay.
We won't talk about the other fight yet.
No.
But that is a huge jump.
That division is just loaded in it. But anyway, we'll get there.
Yeah. He's got some other tough fights who he can fight in the top 15. So I'm sure we're going to see more good things from Shara, but we need to let him move up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the next one, I said that this was going to be probably one of the sleepers. It could have been the possible fight of the night.
Yeah.
You mentioned this last week, though. You were hyping about this fight.
Yes.
Our
Yeah,
boy Lerone.
and it did deliver.
Our boy Lerone
Really.
Murphy.
Yeah. So how did you take the fight? Because am I correct? Was it a split? No, it was a unanimous decision.
Unanimous decision.
It was a unanimous decision. It was what happened was it seemed to drift in terms of the tide in who was in control, and then it came down to the last round pretty much.
I believe there was a point in the second round where Dan Ige rocked him.
Just so we know, everybody can hear us. So we're talking about Lerone Murphy against Dan Ige.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the next fight.
And there was a point in that. There was a point in the second round. I believe it was where he really rocked Lerone Murphy, and it looked like it was almost over.
Yeah.
Dan Ige and Lerone.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And it were, that got me out of my seat. I'm not going to lie. Taking into consideration what you said last week, I did have expectations.
It was very
for this
balanced.
match. It was balanced in the end, but ultimately Lerone came back right and secured the
he made a very good adjustment, and that's the thing about people have always said about Dan Ige. He's got power in his hands.
Yes.
Small guy, small in stature, but he has got absolute power in his hands, and I think that was probably the thing that lost it for him, because he wasn't just going in there and kind of like striking. I think he was trying to put Lerone out.
I mean, when he knocked him down.
Yeah.
So,
but Lerone, I think from Lerone's last fight, he's shown that he's very, very battle tested. So at that point where he was, I think that Dan Ige kind of started early, but it also kind of didn't work in his favor, because as the fight went on, it got away from him. His coach Eric Nixick in the third round basically came out and he said, you need to fucking basically win this. You need to go out there and you need to finish it, because if you don't, you're gonna lose.
he said that to who? Dan Ige?
He said,
I mean,
in the corner.
based upon the last round, the total strikes. I mean, if his coach is saying that and he's only thrown 8 total strikes, there we go. But I stand corrected. Sorry, it wasn't the second round that he got knocked down. It was the first round. He knocked down Lerone Murphy, and that's where it started getting exciting for me, and I picked it up.
Yeah,
was glued to the TV after that and for the rest of the match.
Yeah,
he's our homegrown boy though, Lerone.
Yeah, and now undefeated
still undefeated. I reckon that if there's probably going to be another UK fight, they might put Lerone Murphy on there.
Yep.
He's building the name. He's been on the UFC London. I'm rocking. Can't even get my words out. I'm rocking the UFC London shirt. So the next time when we have a UFC London show, Lerone Murphy is gonna be on that card. He has to be on that card.
Yes.
I don't know who he's going to be up against, but now he's working his way up in the rankings. He's becoming a lot more familiar with the face.
Or Manchester.
Yeah. So is he ranked?
Throw that in there as well.
So is he ranked now?
He's from Manchester.
Well, after that win,
Let's have a quick check.
Yeah.
let's have a little look.
We
are in.
Yes, he is.
So he's up to 11th now.
So he's close to breaking top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a big fight is.
Where do you think his next fight lies?
Fuck it, give him Topuria.
Maybe.
Did he call out somebody? Somebody on the card called out Josh Emmett, no?
No, I don't think they did. No, I don't think Lerone called anybody out after he won from memory, because I listened to him talk after the fight. I don't think he did. I think he was just calling out for another fight.
I'm trying to remember. Somebody recently called out Josh Emmett. I'll have to look that up.
Josh Emmett.
Yeah, somebody called out Josh Emmett recently.
I'd like to see an all-British fight. Maybe him versus Sterling. 11th from 9th. Good little battle for getting into the top 10. Never going to happen, but we'll probably see them both on the same card.
Sterling's he's a New York boy.
Is he?
Yeah.
What the hell am I thinking of?
You're too busy thinking about cash money, man. You're thinking about the dollar.
No, you're right. Sorry, no. Lerone Murphy calls out Josh Emmett following late surge to beat Dan Ige.
Okay, I
stand corrected.
Okay.
Apologies.
Josh Emmett.
Blundering all over the place.
That's another one. He's another big power puncher, so I think he's realised he can kind of exploit maybe some of these power punches. But Josh Emmett, he's another one similar to Ige in that he's a super powerful guy. He's not really known for doing any. He's not the wrestling guy or anything like that. He's just
unbelievable tattoos.
He's got that. Again, really tight stance. Go in there. Doesn't throw a whole load of volume, but catch him, he's going to give you dynamite.
So that'll be a good little climb for Lerone. So we can beat a guy like Josh Emmett in the top 10. That will hopefully get him into the ranks. So we're big on Lerone Murphy to climb up those ranks, man.
The UK boys, we're big on Lerone.
Here's our boy.
Lerone, we're going to be tagging you in this.
Yes. So, well done, dude.
Yeah.
Good win. Especially against a guy like Dan Ige as well. Obviously, he's got a bit of reputation. Dan Ige is the one who stepped in last minute, didn't he, for that fight with, was it Lopez?
For Lopez, yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, but that wasn't his natural... they done that one at catchweight.
Yes.
They done that one at catchweight, so that's another example of a catchweight fight. But yeah, also if Lerone Murphy will slot right underneath Arnold Allen, which is probably who you're thinking of, who's a UK card. So if they maybe did Arnold Allen versus Lerone Murphy, it'll be sad to see two UK boys go up against each other. But if he beats Josh Emmett, then he'll be right under Arnold Allen, and we'll have a 7th and 8th in featherweight. So
yeah, and they're the best type of fights.
Maybe throwing Brian Ortega in the mix as well. He's a good fight for anyone, to be honest with you.
Yeah. He's a name as well.
Yeah, he's
at the
a
end
good
of the
gatekeeper for that division for sure.
When you start to work your way up in the rankings, so those are some of the things you want to think about. After you start breaking into the top 10, it's kind of like you want to get people who've got name value. So like you say, somebody like an Ortega or something like that.
That's a stacked weight class anyway.
Yeah,
it's just mad though how Diego Lopez has just springboarded to 3rd.
Yeah, he done the right thing. He kind of just sort of he's very game in that he's just like, give me whoever. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. So he's obviously managed to leapfrog a lot of guys who have probably been chipped in their way.
Massively.
And he's just sort of jumped straight over.
But he's also got the package, isn't he? Dana White likes him for the package. He's marketable. He's marketable, should I say.
Dana likes a lot of things. Dana likes somebody who is going to accept a fight and give him not that much trouble.
Yes.
And he also likes a guy who is, like you say, marketable, whether they're a bit of a character or they look a bit quirky or...
Yeah, they're going to sell tickets.
Or someone who's just, balls on the table, I'll fight anyone.
Yeah,
they're going to put butts on seats.
And on top of that as well, like he's a Mexican guy. Like he's got the Mexican crowd who love him. He represents where he's from, and that's a big community for him. So he's also going to bring all those fans with him when he comes up.
All good business.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which leads us to our next fight. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's do it. What did you make of this, considering it was a fight or contender fight? Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. Sorry.
Good fight. It went as I expected it to go.
Yeah, it sort of... It patted out a little bit. That's my take. But
patted out. But so I know we've been speaking about Ankalaev a lot over the past couple of weeks because he's the guy that should have been having the title shot. He's the guy that's been waiting in the wings. But I honestly thought at the weigh-ins, at the pressers, I thought Rakic looked insane in those.
Rakic looked amazing.
He looked in unbelievable shape, trim. Obviously, he made weight. He looked intense. 100%. He looked intense. It looked like his mind was on it. He had the right mindset going into it.
So Rakic has been he's been out of the sorry to jump in there just whilst you're on that thought, but I think you're exactly right because Rakic he's been on the sidelines for a bit in this division, especially with all the other stuff that's been happening with Pereira. Rakic has sort of been on the back seat because he was injured. But I think for him to come back and looking as good as he did, looking as trim as he did, he looked wicked in the first round. He was winning. He was taking the first round. So but I didn't think. I mean, I think Ankalaev maybe underestimated the difficulty of the challenge that was ahead of him with this fight. I think he looked at the name, thought, okay, this is going to be another one, just springboard me to a title match. But I don't think he anticipated having to work as hard as he did to get the win. Is what I'm taking from it. You agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, for me, he, obviously, where Ankalaev is in the rankings as well. He's number one, right? So number one contender, is he? Yeah.
Yes.
Be.
Yeah.
I think obviously I wouldn't say it was a unanimous decision. I did feel he won the fight overall. Yeah, but he did look like it was a bit of a test, and considering his his six first round finishes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's I wanted to see a bit more fireworks, but it was very good. Definitely wasn't as entertaining as
What was the strike count then?
The strike count overall. Oh, sorry,
for each fighter
down a little bit.
Oh, hold on, what the hell is going on here?
But I understand wholeheartedly what you guys mean. Like
75 total strikes for Ankalaev, 59 for Rakic.
So but significant strikes, 55 Ankalaev, 53 Rakic.
Balanced out.
Rakic, I think so the thing is, the commentators actually touched on this quite well, and this is something that I haven't thought about. Obviously, they've been talking about Ankalaev, and everyone's been saying like he's going to be the test for Pereira because he's the wrestler, he's the guy who can do the thing. There was no wrestling. There was no takedowns whatsoever.
You're right.
And I think Rakic thought that maybe that was a possibility of that happening because he was keeping him on the outside. He was doing a lot of kicks, a lot of spinning kicks, just to kind of keep him at bay, maybe because he's a bit more confident in his kicks and keeping him back rather than the strikes. So Rakic was doing really, really good job with the first round with the kicks, and he was owning that first round. I think that Ankalaev made the right adjustments, but the only thing is because Rakic was still throwing those kicks, he was finding it hard to get those openings.
Well, Ankalaev openly said he didn't understand his striking.
Yeah, he said he found it hard, didn't he?
He was uncomfortable in there. So
that's not ideal if you're going to face Pereira.
Well, no, it's not. Yeah, but I guess he sent a bit of a message to Pereira though on that, didn't he? You know, like you just said, he can strike. You know, his foot game, is that what you call it? Your standing game, ground game like this, is good. But you know, if he's going to be if he's a natural wrestler, I suppose it will get Pereira's attention a bit, wouldn't it?
I mean, he landed 20 significant strikes to the head.
Showed a different style
throughout the full fight. You know, and he gave away 30. Well, he gave 13 leg kicks as opposed to Rakic is 34 throughout the fight.
Yeah,
certainly increased. But yeah, no, just obviously looking at the stats here, you know, is 20 significant head strikes enough?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get exactly what you're saying because the thing is, Pereira is pressure, and that's the thing that Pereira is really good about. He's gonna walk you down, and even if we saw in the Khalil fight, like he's not afraid to take a few shots to get in your face to basically then get to the point where he's gonna then start pouring it on before he's gonna decide that he's gonna knock you out. So I don't know if this style or tactic will work or translate very well if Ankalaev tries to do this with someone like a Pereira. I don't know if he's going to adjust, and maybe he didn't do the takedowns in this fight, but he's going to save it for the Pereira fight, but who knows?
So that is the money fight now, really, in this division, isn't it? Pereira and Ankalaev, realistically.
Well, you say that. I wouldn't say it's a big money fight.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be honest.
What do you mean by money fight?
Well, as in that's the next fight that should happen in this division.
It's going to be the next fight that's going to happen for the title, for sure.
Yeah, Ankalaev deserves it, really.
So
is he
been holding on
off the back of this win? Is he ranked one? I mean, I know he was first anyway, but he's
still number one contender in the rankings.
Yeah, brilliant.
I saw a tweet from Jamal Hill, saying good luck marketing this one.
After you're going to get fighters like that, like Bilal Muhammad, our current champion in another division, probably one of the most unmarketable is a strong word, but a boring person, you know, and in the cage and outside of it, but he's champ.
Yeah, I think sometimes it just comes to where your allegiances lie as well, because the thing is, you're always going to have people from your area also backing you, like Bilal. He's not the most entertaining in terms of the style of his fighting, and I love grappling. I love grappling before anybody jumps out the window and says, oh yeah, it's just because he wrestles. I love grappling, but I think Bilal's style doesn't kind of bring that excitement like Islam or Sarukian or any of these guys, you know, like Eve Aljo, like they do great grappling and it's very, very entertaining. Khamzat Chimaev, who we're about to come on to as well. But I think that Bilal's style is just not necessarily not the most entertaining. And I think Ankalaev kind of suffers with that as well. He could have done something more to kind of stamp his name to basically...
You don't think he did that in this fight, no?
No, you don't get me wrong. He got the decision. He got the win.
But he also demonstrated another side of him.
He did, but this is what I mean. I think that he tried to prove something. So he didn't go for any takedowns in this fight.
Yep.
Because he wanted to show that he can strike. Because he made a point to say I can strike. And that he's making it out as if he's going to do that with Pereira. Pereira is a different beast.
Totally different
when it comes to striking.
Yeah.
Whereas he could have done a little bit of wrestling. He could have taken Rakic down and just slammed him with elbows, and that would have been more entertaining. And he could have got a stamp with a win. Do you not agree?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. But then again, he has had a lot of fights to demonstrate all of his other sides of him. He's been waiting for a long time, so why not try something new? And he got the W. Got a W.
He got the W. So
Maybe he's just trying to screw with Pereira's head a little bit, which he is.
Yeah.
He's got his attention off the back of that. I think he's openly said he's got my attention. So
yeah, sometimes it is a bit of a mind game, to be honest. But also sometimes you also want to do what's safe. What's gonna if you're number one, are you gonna take a risk?
No, you're not.
No,
because you're already there, right?
Yeah,
and you kind of already know. He probably already knew in the back of his head. Actually, I'm up next anyway. So.
I think that's another thing that obviously same thing that happened with Bilal. Like the thing was going to happen with Ankalaev. I think that almost like the UFC brass. If Rakic took this, you know that they were going to give him a title shot straight away.
Yes.
Even though Ankalaev has been deserving of a title shot, but they've kept him on the back burner.
Yes.
So I think he probably done the right thing in that he just cruised his way to a win. Wasn't the most entertaining, but at the end of the day, if you're going to be number one for long enough, and the people are saying, why isn't he having the title fight?
That's the fight to make.
He did the job. He did the job for sure.
Moving on, my boy, man.
Yeah, this one hurt. This
one hurt me. I'm a big fan of Robert Whittaker.
Not even just because of the damage. We're gonna get there. Not because of the damage, but just everybody loves Robert Whittaker. So we're talking about Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev.
Co-main.
Two very big fan favorites. It's almost like choosing between a sibling for a lot of people who like both of these guys. Rob is the big personality. Khamzat is the absolute animal, even though he's been sort of floating in the ether for
I fight everybody. I come for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's known for. But he's sort of been floating around in the last 2 years. You know, people worried about him if he's still going to fight, if he's being active. He's had a lot of stuff going on, but
beast of a man. Though,
he just does his business, man.
Beast of a man.
So if you miss this round one, absolute mauling that started with it. I'm not going to lie, I'm worried. I'm still worried now because Khamzat's style and his aggression when he comes out, he has been known to drain the tank, and that is the first thing that I thought that was going to happen. He took Rob down. Rob was
drain his tank or his opponents.
Drain his own tank.
Okay,
that's the thing. Wrestling is one of those. It's a gift and a curse in a kind of way because you use a lot of energy yourself
on the ground. Definitely.
But if that guy is not used to wrestling and he's being taken down and he's trying to get up and trying to get you off of him, that's just as bad on him.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't pay off, then Chimaev could have stood up in the second round and he could have been absolutely gassed. Which my take was going to be, if it was going to get past round 2, I had Rob winning this.
Yeah.
So
yes, you said that. That was your prediction from last week.
that was my prediction. But it didn't even get outside of round 1.
No extra 4 rounds needed.
No,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he was on top of him, obviously on the ground, he just looked like he just towered over him over there.
He's an absolute brute mauler, man.
His reach, his height, just his build, everything about him.
Yeah, he's kind of taller and slender than Rob, but
But Rob looked like he'd slimmed out a little bit in comparison to his last fight in this.
You think?
Yeah, he looked smaller than he did at that fight night.
Fair play.
A bit more leaner, maybe?
Yeah, just like he looked a bit wider when he was main eventing fight night. I can't remember his last fight that he won, but in this...
Oh, the one where he fought...
his opponent pulled out.
Yes, I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember who it was.
He had a first round knockout. That was it in Paris? It wasn't. Paris.
No, Saint Denis was Paris.
Yeah,
the one before that. It was in August kind of time.
But yeah, that one.
Wasn't it Vittori?
Bit of a shame for Whittaker, though. Shame for Whittaker.
But everybody hates to see Robert Whittaker lose. He's a fan favourite. But we got Chimaev back. As long as we can keep Chimaev in the interest, Chimaev has catapulted himself way up in the rankings now.
We've got up 10 rankings.
Chimaev number 3.
Third, wow. And he came up from where?
From 14.
From 14. That's a massive
And Shara's taking his place as well.
Yeah, so...
It's like another Lopez.
And he wants to Adesanya and he wants to be up there too, so...
Well, he was very humble. He's a very humble guy, Chimaev. That's one thing I will say about him. He was humble. Okay, go on.
Okay, wait. Did you not feel like this was a shock? JD just quoted a second ago the guy who used to shout, "I kill everybody, Dana, give me everybody,
Humble guy.
I kill them."
Is that in the cage after a win?
He did that after Li Jingliang, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was after that fight.
But I was talking about maybe the presses before. He sat there and he was out there and he was like, "Look, I'm amongst legends here." Do you know what I mean? I've got Whittaker, I've got Max Holloway sitting next to me. I feel blessed. Yeah, you said that. So
I mean,
you've got to define what's the show and what's the person.
Who would beef Whittaker? Whittaker. He's such a likable person.
That was the thing that he said the whole time.
He's got big. Anyone who fights Whittaker will have naturally big respect for him. He's a big name.
Yeah.
I think everyone as well. They just like his personality. Robert Whittaker, like nobody. There's nothing personal like when it comes into these fights. Obviously, sometimes when you're trying to market the fight, people might trash talk all this sort of stuff. That's not in Robert Whittaker's nature. He's just going to come in. He's going to show up. He's going to give you a fight.
Business.
That's what it is with Robert Whittaker. Chimaev kind of has that charisma where he's like, I'm the aggressive guy, I'm the bear, I'm gonna come here. Well, he's the wolf actually technically, but he's like, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna maul everybody, and I'm gonna run through the division. It was good to obviously, exactly. He was doing that. Everyone thought that he was gonna chip away at the division, he was gonna work his way up, and he was gonna be a champion. A lot. He was going to be in the champion a lot sooner. But obviously with his health problems, with some of the political problems that he's had, he's been out of the picture. He came back and he's catapulted himself way up into the rankings. He's a top 5 guy now. He's going to be undeniable, especially after that performance with Robert Whittaker.
I don't think that had title shot implications. I think Sean Strickland is next against DDP.
Sean Strickland is next. But that is...
I personally think they should do
more entertaining.
They should do Strickland Chimaev first, and the winner takes DDP. But I know that Strickland and DDP's plan for early next year, isn't it? Kind of already in the wings, right?
Yes, it is. So I think the talk is January. It hasn't officially been announced yet, but it's been floating around on Twitter.
Be on the way.
Either January or February.
Yeah.
But I am interested if it was going to be Chimaev and Israel Adesanya.
Is he?
Adesanya... He is like one of the middleweight greats, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he's lost.
Yeah,
everybody loses at him.
He was a working champion, man.
He's been losing a lot recently, though, hasn't he? He's lost his last 2, hasn't he?
He's lost his last 2, but he also has the most record with the most amount of retentions.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
Obviously, other than Anderson Silva.
Personally, for me, this is just my opinion. If you lose 2 big fights, which he has done on the bounce, you need to start fighting some people lower down the rankings and start becoming a gatekeeper for that division. Not fight the top dogs right now. You've lost twice.
No, but you can do. I think sometimes there's 2 different things. So sometimes it depends on availability. He's beat Alex Pereira, who everyone is saying for fight of the night.
I know, absolutely. That was back in April, right? In April last year.
In his last 3 fights, he's beaten the guy who we are saying is the contender for fighter of the year. So that has something. Even though he was winning his fight against Dricus du Plessis and he made a fucking stupid mistake. He needs a stupid mistake. He obviously needs to own that.
He needs to pay for his mistakes.
His one that he obviously... That's undeniable was his loss against Sean Strickland. That there was no answer for that, and I don't know what's going to happen when he fights him the next time. But the only reason why I bring up Adesanya is because when Adesanya was champ, he was talking about Chimaev when Chimaev was lower down in the ranks. So now Chimaev is literally right under him, 1 rank below. We can see that fight play out maybe in the wins while we're waiting for Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland to play out, and that will be a banger.
It'll still be a banger without a doubt.
But Chimaev is going to do what he's going to do. He's going to wrestle him, which is, it is what it is. But
doesn't Izzy need to?
Izzy needs to adjust. Izzy needs to adjust and kind of make his statement.
Maybe Izzy needs to fight Magomedov first.
Huh?
Magomedov.
Wow.
Nah. Nah.
unless it just happens to be that way. We're forgetting that Shara can only fight over.
That's true.
Over in Middle East.
That's true.
Do you know what? I can't even pronounce his name. I'm gonna butcher it right now. Baralho. Yeah, he's the
Ciao Baralho.
He is the guy from Brazil. Everyone is saying that Izzy should fight him next. So that's another thing I've seen online.
That's a good fight. So he can fight someone outside the top 5 because he's ranked 6th, right?
Baralho, I believe that's correct. So yeah, but anyway, we're talking about this fight, Khamzat and Whittaker, right?
Yep.
Were you confused when you saw the
tap?
The tap.
Well, I saw the damage that Chimaev did to him with the elbow.
Those elbows were brutal.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he wrestled him and just smashed him with elbows.
Well, it was one of those
3 or 4 elbows.
Noticeable. And I thought the ref was going to stop it then. Yeah. I thought, actually, okay, this is getting a bit uncomfortable, but he just carried on. And then, so naturally then when he got him into the lock,
wrapped the face,
his jaw was already done. I mean, he said he heard a pop, right?
Yeah, that was pretty bad. He said he heard and he felt it. Yeah. But
we need to get a picture.
He didn't even get the hooks in, so he didn't wrap the legs round or anything anything. He just put the pressure on the face, and it wasn't under the chin.
Yeah.
And man, that's brutal.
It just clicked, didn't it? You're bringing it up, J-Dog.
We've all seen the picture. But
to me, it looks like his gum there is like broken off from his front.
So this was a photo.
Yeah.
So this was a photo. Just very shortly after the fight, after they went backstage, wasn't it? I think this was released pretty quickly.
It got shared to Dana.
Yeah.
And that's actually DC when he showed it at the end of the show, when he showed it on the broadcast. So
look at that.
His teeth basically went backwards into his mouth.
Yeah.
Rob actually told a story a couple of days before this fight actually happened. So what happened is Rob's got quite a noticeable big goatee. When Rob was 18 or 19, he had an accident where he smashed his jaw and his teeth came out.
Oh.
He then had a metal plate put in his chin, which made his chin quite large. And as a result, he grew out of the goatee, and it hides his big chin.
Oh,
so he's had a metal plate. So his jaw wasn't actually broken. What he actually did is he just basically cracked where that plate is, and it flipped his teeth back in. So and he said he felt it straight away.
So it's like an old injury then coming back to haunting then, I guess, isn't it?
Basically.
Yeah. Well, they said they needed to have his mouth jaw wired shut.
Yeah.
Through the wire, Kanye style.
It's funny how the picture...
spit it through the wire.
Funny how the picture, I'm zooming in and out. And then when you're telling the story about him cracking his chin, I'm like, it's making me feel
I've seen the picture a couple of times now, so it doesn't make me feel that bad. But when I first saw it, and it was like that weird kind of like horse teeth looking kind of...
Well, the doctor said treatment of this is going to be some type of surgery to put those teeth, that bone back in place. Plate potentially braces across the teeth. It's a serious injury. Is what I quoted it. Bad. So he's probably going to be out for a while, man.
That's gonna and for that to happen through the mouth guard as well. It's pretty bad.
It's another level. But Chimaev, what an animal! What an animal!
Chimaev.
You know, fair play to the guy. You know, he did his job. Went in there, got the win. Onwards and upwards.
All business for Chimaev, man.
Yeah, and that was the co-main. So
brilliant co-main. Very entertaining.
Main event.
Oh, my boy, man!
Wow. So what was that meme that we... I think I shared it in the group last week, one of the very rare memes that I share. Mm-hmm. It was like watching The Undertaker's undefeated streak be ended.
Oh yes.
At Mania 30. It was the equivalent.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Max Holloway against Ilia Topuria.
Okay, so let's just get into the crux of the fight, right?
Yeah.
Ilia came out and he did exactly what we said he was going to do. He pointed to the mat.
Yeah,
he pointed to the mat. Obviously, it was part of the show.
Yeah,
but it was strange to see that Max like kind of acknowledged that.
It's kind of doing the cha-cha slide.
He gave him the matador. He was like, "Oh, I'm the matador."
Yeah.
So he was the one saying he was the bull, and then he gave him the matador. He gave him the flag.
Yes.
So I think Topuria obviously knew that he wasn't going to engage. Topuria obviously showed that he is dangerous with those strikes. Wow. Absolute heavy hands.
I've never seen a boxer like that in a cage before for like he does.
But I had a good conversation actually after this fight with regards to styles, because Max's boxing is wicked.
Yeah.
Ilia's boxing is top notch as well, but in very, very different styles.
Technically wicked.
His is exactly. His is like if you took a page out of a boxing manual.
Yep.
That's what Ilia's style is like. Very, very tight. The movement is kind of just what you see is what you get, sort of thing. Yeah. But I could see the way he was kind of slowed in the back foot so that he could just jolt forward and catch Max whenever he wanted to. But Max was doing a good job of evading in the first couple rounds. Max was actually winning on the scorecards for a lot of people for rounds
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Yeah. I actually had it score when I was... Normally I try and not score fights when I'm watching, but in my mind I try and analyze the situation, and I think about what's going to happen before it gets to the judges. So when they're calling out the scores, if I'm along the right kind of lines, I had it more along the lines of 1-1.
Yeah.
Because the second round seemed a little bit closer, sort of thing. But yeah, everybody seemed to have it as round 1 and 2 to Max. But then when it got to round 3, we saw Topuria, like we say, coming in with the heavy hands.
Yep.
Making his presence known, getting all up in Max's grill.
Yes,
he put him up against the fence. JD's got the video, but
of the knockout, you're bringing it up here.
So this is the first instance, the first engagement. He throws the triple. That's what he's known for, and then he gets Yeah.
The knockout.
So what happened was just before that, he put him up against the fence. He put the pressure on, and that is the first time we saw Max stumble. He didn't go down.
No,
he stumbled badly, and everybody saw.
Go.
Yeah, there we go. So he stumbled there. He goes straight up against the fence. Topuria's there, flurrying him, and luckily Max just rolls out, and then we think, oh, okay, well that was close, and then these couple exchanges here put Max on the back foot. And then when he's up against the fence,
that left hand.
So I thought Max had him there because when he threw the exchange, what you actually notice, Max goes like this and he throws up the knee. He throws the knee straight to the body. And I think what he tried to do is he tried to wind Topuria to give himself a bit of a break.
Right.
But what happened is the moment when that knee came down, Topuria just banged him with the hardest shot. Because he even said, when I threw that shot, I knew that was going to put him down.
But yeah, no, I mean, I didn't. I mean, I just thought it was a hell of a lot more of a dominant performance than I expected from Topuria.
Yeah, it was the first time we seen Max getting. They said it was a knockdown in his fight with the BMF with Gaethje, but they didn't actually count it. But yeah, this is the first time we see a knockdown from Max and a knockout.
Yeah,
we talked about the granite chin. The chin is officially broken.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's shocking.
I called Max Holloway as my prediction.
You did?
And I was wrong. And
what did you say actually as well? Sorry.
You both said Topuria.
I said Topuria by decision. I thought that it was going to be a brawl.
Yeah.
And I think it was going to be a bit dirty, but I thought Topuria was going to be a decision, which is why I thought it was interesting, the fact that they scored rounds 1 and 2 for Max.
The camera angle, though, of how they shot that knockout when it was actually on the cage, it looked insane. They had it just at the right moment. Like, Holloway just went sideways. He just flopped sideways.
Yeah.
Man, that load up from Ilia was disgusting as well. He had that in the cannon ready to pop, man.
Insane.
And just that impact was like, see you later. I mean, obviously his fist followed Max all the way as well.
It was dirty.
Incredible knockout.
And Max was down for a while. He didn't get up immediately. Like, that was the doctors were surrounding him
for a minute or two. Yeah,
but brilliant win for him.
He had Ilia in there putting the belt around Sergio Ramos.
Yeah, Ramos was there. Yeah. The boys like that.
Yeah, I bet they did, man.
Yeah, their boy.
I bet they did.
Still enjoyed that one. So do you think that's locked him up for Fighter of the Year?
That was obviously the reason why I reposted the reel and we stitched in the knockout.
Yes, following on.
Well.
I had to make mention to that because we were talking about the what ifs, and we were saying, what if he does beat Poirier and he does beat Max? What's the situation there? But I don't think anybody anticipated that he's going to come out there and he's going to knock Max out. So
no.
What is your take now? He's beaten 2 of the greats.
Well, we touched on caliber of fights.
Caliber.
And
you said last week, Jado.
Yeah, the fights. And for me, Topuria is Fighter of the Year.
Spon.
There are some other fighters in contention. I mean, we've seen Aspinall have a great year as well.
Yep.
We've seen Pereira have a phenomenal year as well. Pereira's been the Undertaker, the workhorse of over this year, but Topuria for the caliber of fights and the caliber of fighters, to do that to Max, you got to be something special. And I didn't really, I know Topuria's had some beef with Paddy as well, so I've been firmly on Paddy's side naturally because he's our boy. So part of me didn't really want Topuria to win on that biased account, but he's firmly showed me that he's not to be fucked with.
Oh, without a doubt. Did you also see his little, what I found quite insane about Topuria, did you see his little wink that he gave to the camera before the fight?
Yeah.
Before it started, he just looked at the camera, gave me a little wink, basically just to say, what you're about to do.
Oh, mate.
I mean, wow, what swag, mate. Like, before you even enter a fight with Max Holloway to do that and then actually follow through with it.
Some people find him a bit cringe, but I think he's quite funny, to be honest.
He's smooth, man.
He has the rose, right?
Yes.
Because obviously when the matadors and they throw the roses and stuff, but he also says like the rose is like after he basically finishes you, he's like, here's a rose for you.
He's royal with it.
He's doing that V for Vendetta.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
that same sort of thing. So,
but I think the gulf between like what Topuria has accomplished this year as opposed to Pereira, because they're the two we're talking about for Fighter of the Year.
Yes.
I mean, I just think is vast. I mean, you're talking about the guy has knocked out 2 top 15 fighters that have never actually been knocked out in featherweight before, right? In 1 year.
Two of the most dominant champs that are going to be in the last seven years.
Yeah. That's historic for me, right?
That's a big statement. That's what I mean. Like, I'm glad that you guys are kind of watching this and you saw it live as well, because I think that we could be witnessing a new reign, a new era. Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes there's a fight that can change things at a drop of a hat, like kind of what happened with Izzy and the Sean Strickland kind of thing. Like, that's what I mean. That's why I say Izzy is great, because I was there for that era. Yeah. And obviously, he is on a loss now. But what I'm saying is I think that Ilia is at a point where this could be Ilia's era. Yeah. He is 27. He's knocked out two of the guys, the most dominant guys in the last 7 years. Yep. And when you look at the other guys who are below him, I don't really know who's going to give him problems, because he's very technically sound. He's got a lot of power. So and the thing is, he can take people down as well. He took Max down in the fight. Yeah. He's
that's a statement in itself.
He's got great jiu-jitsu. So really we need to see a bit more of that, maybe. But at the same time, we're seeing that this guy is multifaceted.
Yes, so that's a great word.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
But
well-rounded.
He's multifaceted. He's going to be. I think that he's going to have a good reign, and I think there's going to be someone who's going to have to adjust. So
there needs to be one more passing of the torch moment, though. Really, they need to do Volk 2, right? I think that's probably where they're going to go.
They think that it should be Volk 2, but I think Volk should do another fight. I think that
earn it again.
I think that Volk should fight Diego Lopez. Because that's the thing. People thought you had Diego Lopez and you had Volk both sitting cage side. You weren't sure who was going to get called in, and Volk came in. I think that Volk needs to go. I think Volk needs to do what you had mentioned, which is with Izzy, which is kind of just establish yourself in that area right there. Yeah. He needs to fight the likes of kind of like a Evloev or a Lopez, who's going to get himself there. And if those guys decide that they're going to prevail, those are going to be the new cream of the crop who are going to fight Topuria. Yeah. So they're going to be the ones giving him the fresh matchups. And that's what I think.
But you don't think Volkanovski's title reign in itself earns him an automatic rematch just straight away?
I think that
what he's done.
I want to see it.
Don't get me wrong. I agree when certain people should have an automatic rematch.
Yeah.
But
the rematch clause. I
don't think that there's any. No, I don't want to say that there's any rush for Volk, but I just think that it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't have to be straight away. Sometimes just get your mojo back, and then after you've got your mojo back, then go in and set yourself.
Just recoup, get a filler fight.
Yeah, get a win under your belt. It's like when
I always want to see Volk fight.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. He's always someone I want to see on a card.
Yeah,
regardless.
Of course.
But did you catch what Ilia said after the presser, or at the presser afterwards?
Yes.
About here we go. He wants to be the first person to submit Makhachev. I know I mentioned it before. I think I touched on it last week about him saying he wanted to go triple weights.
Yeah,
he wants to be the first holding 3 belts.
But we sort of leaned into what's next for Max if he wins. We didn't really touch more on Topuria.
Yeah,
because I think we might have been sleeping on Ilia a little bit last week, but obviously your predictions obviously said Topuria, but he did Max dirty, unfortunately.
What are your thoughts on this? Because I want to get your thoughts on this.
I want to see Ilia fight Makhachev.
Okay,
that's a fight I want to see. I know if it's not Volk, it's Islam for me.
What would you prefer out of the two? If he had one fight to choose between what's going to happen, what would you prefer?
By what you're saying, you want him to fight Islam. You mean you want him to switch weight classes?
I want him to go for a double.
Yeah. So he's currently in
lightweight champion.
So he's currently in light heavyweight. You want him to drop?
No.
He's in featherweight. Sorry, so you want him to go up to light heavyweight and
to lightweight.
To lightweight.
He'll be jumping up 5 classes. Yeah. 4 classes.
I'm going to bulk up.
0 sense. That'll be a massive bulk. So you want him to switch and go to Islam. Basically,
I want to see that. I want to see that fight because Ilia wants it. Makhachev's been a bit.
I want Ilia Topuria to put on 60 pounds and fight Alex Pereira.
Well, still that'd be a fight and a half.
That would be hilarious. But exactly. If you want to
John Jones, screw it.
If you want to be fighter of the year, then come up 60 pounds and fight me. That's what Pereira should say.
Dana White would wet himself over that.
Nah, but okay. So sorry. Your thoughts? How do you feel?
Volkanovski for me.
You want to see the Volk fight?
Yeah, absolutely. Topuria against Volk, I think just then that another one of the passing of the torch moments. A bit like Holloway's just done for him. Do it with Volk again. Now that Volk's coming in, he knows what he's going to be fighting against. Some people said he came back too soon on the last fight as well.
And he got slept as well, so unfortunately.
So maybe give a fresh Volk, a prepared Volk, the opportunity for Topuria again to maybe reclaim his belt. It's a good story there.
Yep.
Let him pass the torch, and then Topuria can then go on to bigger and better things. He's got time. He's got so much time. And then obviously other challengers can do what they need to do to become a contender for him.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be my view. But he has established himself, as you've already said, firmly as something pretty freaking special.
100%.
After the weekend,
I think he needs
astonishing.
He needs to float around in. I think Topuria. Between Topuria, I think that he could fight either Lopez. He could fight Yair. I think he could fight Evloev, and he could just do something like that to establish himself. I think I had a conversation with somebody else on Instagram after this fight, and.
Do they follow us on Instagram, this person?
They do. They do, good. Yes. But, over the years, I think Connor obviously doing his thing with the double champ, and then DC was double champ, Amanda Nunes. You got a few people who are racking up these things as double champ. Yep. But I think that the double champ is getting to a point where it's getting a little bit too diluted because people want to just jump to go and do, I'm going to fight the next person in my weight class. I think that UFC, they don't need to have a rule, but I think they need to make it a thing where it's just like, have 3 fights in your division, 3 defenses of your title. Then you can start thinking about double champ or triple champ status.
Yeah.
I think if he wants to go for triple, after he gets 2, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But at the moment, I think that he just needs to he needs to rule his weight class for a little bit before he gets the opportunity to fight Islam. Because the thing is as well, even for Islam, if he's going to come up and he's going to fight Islam and Islam knocks him out or whatever, people are just going to say the same thing that they said about Volk. It's like, yeah, you beat him, but you beat a guy who's smaller than you. So it's like, what does that do for Islam? He would then have fought 2 guys who are smaller than him, and he would win. And that's what I mean. And he's kind of even floating in that discussion about fighter of the year, and I don't think that he's done the kind of things that Pereira and Topuria have done. So
agreed.
I think that lightweight should stay doing lightweight at the moment. Max should actually do more stuff at lightweight because he doesn't have to worry about cutting weight now. He's getting a bit older.
He's talking about that though, isn't he?
He can have some money fights.
Yeah.
The thing that happens,
I think he made it clear, didn't he? He wanted to now switch probably another weight class. He looks good in there, he said.
Yeah, he said he looks good. I think he said he enjoys some of the opponents in there. Yeah. I think that if you were going to see Max versus Oliveira, or if you were going to see
that's got to be next
one
for
of
Max.
the other guys, that would be an absolute banger.
Dan Hooker.
Dustin Poirier basically said that he wants either Max or Ilia for the next fight. For Ilia, it would be a big name fight, but at the same time, he'll be going up and he'll be fighting a guy who's not got a title around his waist. So I don't see how that would happen. And Max has got 2 losses actually against Poirier, so maybe he wants to get that back. That could be his big money fight.
Yeah.
So
how old is Max Holloway now?
How much? 34, I think.
Yeah, 34.
Okay, so he's got some years in the tank.
Oh, he's been around for a long time. As well. I mean, people were saying about him. He if he loses, he should consider retiring.
Not yet,
but then obviously he clapped back at that. I'm young.
Yeah, damn
I'm
right.
young. I've been around for a while, but I'm young.
Keep going, Max, and people will still enjoy watching him fight. He's a guy that people enjoy on the screen.
The Blessed Express is still.
He's beloved. The what?
The Blessed Express.
The Blessed Express.
Blessed Express
is still coming.
Yeah,
fair play to him.
It hasn't stopped at his final destination yet.
Not yet.
But yeah, that was the fight. We've broken down everything in the card. We've probably talked about it pretty much too much at length.
Never too much.
Never too much.
Yeah,
it was an exciting card.
That was probably for me the card of the year.
That was the one that you've enjoyed the most of.
I enjoyed it. I think the time, I think everything played into it. The time, the company we had, the fights. One fight of the night, which was on the prelims, and 3 performances of the nights in Shara, in Chimaev and Topuria.
Yeah, and every fight offered something different. And it was a big card. Like, it had a lot of hype because of the card. Yeah. The card was hyped up massively, and sometimes they don't always deliver, do they?
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
This, for me, delivered above and beyond, in my opinion.
So there's a few cards that we're going to have to put together in a list. Obviously, I think 298 was a big one. 300 was a big one.
What was the main event of 298? Sorry, remind me. Am I testing you too much now?
You are testing me.
Sorry. 300... Remember that?
I can't remember. It's 298, even 298. I remember that stretch: 298, 299, 300.
Yep,
those were all big bangers. This one I think is going to be up there. I don't think it's the card, but I don't blame you for saying
card of the year.
Up there.
Card of 2024 so far.
Yeah. It's just of the year.
So this is 308. So 298 was January, because that'd be 10 months ago, right? One a month. It was 298 January. It must have been.
No, because 300 wasn't that
300 is in April.
Am I doing my maths right? So it's October now, 10th month of the year. We're now
298 was in February.
Vulcan Topuria.
Of course it was.
Okay, so go up. What was 299?
299.
O'Malley and Vera 2.
O'Malley and Vera.
Okay, no. That
300.
That main
Pereira
event
and Hill.
stunk.
That's the one.
That main event was a bit stinky.
Yeah, it was.
300.
Pereira
300 was another big one.
Pantoja, that was random, wasn't it?
Makachev and Poirier.
Good fight. Submission. Pereira, Prochaska. That was a fill-in fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a late replacement.
Wow.
But yeah, we've got some good contenders in here.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to go back and analyze again. 304 was the one that we were at. 305, yeah. Return of Izzy.
At the end of the year, we'll compile them all and select our favourite card of the year.
100%.
We'll do that.
100%. So yeah, we've got the fight night. We're not going to break it down, but we've got Amir Albazi and Brandon Moreno coming up next, and then Magni and Parates before we're going to get to 309, which will finally, hopefully, we'll get the answers to what's going to happen in the heavyweight division.
Can I just say,
the next we won't
fight,
rehash that again.
Yeah,
the next fight night, we can't sleep on my girl right here, Thug Rose.
Thug Rose, you mentioned her a couple of weeks ago. Your girl,
mate. Namajunas is the girl, man.
In flyweight, yeah.
Erin Blanchfield as well. They were talking her up obviously before she had the last fight with, I think it was Firo, Manon Firo. They were saying she's going to be next in the title. So all these ladies here, they're all kind of floating in the title contention talk. So I think this could be another one where it could be a decider as to who's going to go up next for the women's title. Obviously Rose has held it before, so she's just trying to keep herself in that chatter there. She probably wants to boost herself from fifth rank to 5.
There's a few women fights on the main card of 309 now, isn't there? I think, which is nice to see. It's not all men.
Who have we got?
I'm pretty sure some were added. I think there's a couple of women fights on the main card, not even in the prelims of 309. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think I've seen any new fights added, but yeah, I'll have to check. So we've got two main cards that are coming. We've got 309 and we got 310 is going to be the last one of the year.
Yes.
Yeah. Brilliant. So we've got Jones Mincic 309, 310, Bilal, Rachmanov. Oh, that's a big one as well.
It's a bit of a shame we're not seeing Makachev before the end of the year.
They thought that he was going to do this Abu Dhabi card, but I don't know what happened.
Because I feel like we haven't seen him in a while now, man. I mean, we saw him back in the summer.
Well, this is another criticism that a lot of people have because he only usually seems to fight in the Far East.
Right. Okay.
But everybody thought that he was going to fight on this card. It didn't quite happen. So I don't know.
Spread your wings.
We'll see what's going to happen.
Spread your wings. But yeah, great card, man. Oh, that was one again. Yeah, for me, card of the year.
Cool. Okay.
Well, we've got a few more left. I mean, we've got Dana's boy as well. So yeah, we'll see. We'll touch that. We'll touch on the end of the year.
Just while we're capping this off, we're going to start doing some memes.
Yes.
So my meme,
the halfway meme. We're going to do halfway memes.
We're going to drop a meme in the video or on the reel somewhere here at the moment. Yeah. But my reel is to do with Topuria and Max.
Oh, you're going to play it? Jadal's bringing it up on the screen.
Isn't that Vitaly?
Jadal's going to try and bring it up on the screen.
Streamer, isn't he?
Yeah. He's in there. He's singing Stan like after Max lost.
Well, as an Eminem Stan.
Yeah. I'm in the car right now. I'm doing 90 on the freeway. Hey Slim, I drank a fifth of vodka. You dare me to drive?
How long does it last for?
It's only a couple seconds. It's a couple seconds. I think it's looping, but yeah, we'll drop the video in there now. But
that's your meme of the week.
That was literally how my heart was feeling. I also posted the one. I got a few reactions off of that as well. Because have you watched The Bear?
No, I haven't.
There's in season 2, there's a massive fight, and people like basically put over there, like somebody has said, "Oh yeah, you saw your boy Robert Whittaker and Max, they both got knocked out," like sort of thing. And the guy just bangs on the table.
I mean, you know, I haven't mentioned my own podcast before, but shout out to Alex Rodell. He's a very big fan of UFC, and you know, we exchange.
I didn't know we were doing shout outs on this.
Oh no, just a random one. Just you know, me and him are big Max fans, and the moment Topuria knocks him out, I get a DM on Instagram. Sad face.
We'll have to have him on here. We were very sad. We should have had him on here.
I think we should.
We'll have him as a guest one time.
I yelped like a little dog.
Did you gasp it like a little?
I did. I turned around to my girlfriend and I went, "Oh." It literally felt like a knife in the heart, man.
Oh, no, mate. Oh, no. Listen, guys, these things need to happen in life and in sport.
Well, they do happen. That's the thing.
Times change.
Every dog has his day.
We've seen some very shocking stuff happen, but when it does happen, these are the things that you remember. For me, they're like there's a lot of ones that have happened. Like the another one that stands out was when Leon knocked out Usman with the head kick. Like that's one that's kind of burned into my mind, and I think this one here, I think even the Gaethje knockout. Obviously, we talked about how great that fight was at 300.
Yeah.
But like this is going to be another one. I think this is going to stick in people's minds, especially the first time seeing Max get knocked out.
It's a shift in the UFC timeline.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just a line, and then something happens in the world where all of a sudden it just interrupts it. It's a shift. It's moved. This is probably one of them moments for sure.
But yeah, we've covered UFC to an end, to a fault. People are bored of us now.
No, not at all, mate. We can talk about that all freaking day, that card, and more to come. There's loads still to come before the end of the year.
We're going to reverse it because next week, at this weekend, we're going to be very WWE.
It's the road to Crown Jewel now, man. The Saudi show number 2. Back in Saudi again. We're in Saudi for UFC at the past weekend. Now we're in Saudi for WWE on Saturday. So another 7 p.m. start for us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks again to the Saudis.
No, well, you know, we need to get our regions right here. I think we're in the United Arab Emirates, and now we're in Saudi Arabia for this one. So we're next door.
Head of geography, AJ.
It's Riyadh season.
But yes, the Middle East seem to be having a firm hold on things. I think there's they're getting some big events over in that region.
Massively. Well, Dana actually said in the press conference, sorry, just flipping back slightly, after, that he wants to come back here more and more and more, didn't he? He actually said, because somebody asked him, I think, out of the pressers, are you going to be back again soon? He said the answer is 100% yes, more frequently.
It's a big deal because the thing is, this is something we talked about when the TKO merger happened. Like they had the UFC, when they stamped themselves in the Far East, I think all of their events were happening in the UAE, and when WWE first started doing the things with Crown Jewel, that was always in Saudi Arabia. And normally what would happen is when you're doing those kind of deals, whoever they were doing them with, you're one or the other. Yeah. And now I think the UFC have their first event sorted for Riyadh, which is Saudi Arabia. So now they're showing, okay, we've done UAE, now we're doing Saudi Arabia, where Crown Jewel is going to be held.
Yeah, that's it. It's a money pit. They're paying for all the big events. Everything that's going to be big in sport is in Saudi, really. But yeah, it's the road to Crown Jewel this week.
It is indeed.
On the way. We're on the way. So we're looking ahead at that. First of all, just off on a random, I guess. So you guys both saw SmackDown last Friday.
Yep.
I saw SmackDown. I haven't seen... We're recording a day early, so I haven't seen Raw. So you're going to have to update me on Raw, but I saw SmackDown.
Don't worry too much about it.
We're going to spoil it for you. It's fine.
We'll look ahead to the card, and then we can feed back into what happened at the weekend. Because it's really just a build towards what's happening on Saturday now. The card's kind of really taking shape. What did you guys think about Triple H being involved in the opening segment on SmackDown, making an appearance?
I really like that.
Did you like the way they did it?
Yeah, I think it's you know, they've got the new team in, and you know, he comes out, he's sitting there at Gorilla.
Yeah.
And it was time to play the game.
But did you like the way that Randy entered through the Gorilla, went to the ring,
had a chat with him?
Well, yeah, had a chat with him on the way through. Really, really kind of blurs the lines again. Triple H is so good at doing that. So he was just sat at Gorilla producing the show, but he actually stopped, went and had a word with him and said, "You need to come out." Then he was like, no, keep going. I just thought it was great, but it just adds so much value to the segment and to,
I'm going to call you
the
out.
Story. Yeah,
the way you were smiling, I was waiting to see what your take was there. That's why I was laughing.
It's great, and it's just it's nostalgic again.
Well, so that is. Oh, sorry, it was Raw the last time. So that's 2 times in very recent episodes where they've kind of just like shown that bit kind of going through Gorilla.
I think that's quite a frequent.
I think
when they showed Gorilla position, you know, obviously it's right before the curtains
came through. Yeah, so.
Yeah,
they're doing that a lot now in production. And again, I think that's a statement for them. It's showing that we're now in an era where actually what happens backstage filters through to what's going to happen out there.
Yeah,
all the lines are blurred. Again, we're just in that. We're in that era. We're in that world that we're in.
Go on. Sorry, to blur the lines even further.
Yes.
Our boy Mark Anderson was in the crowd behind commentary. Who famously sung "Time to play the game."
He was there. I spotted him.
He stood up.
You spotted him, and we I put that video straight on our Instagram.
It was on the Insta, wasn't it?
We still got it as well.
I went on the TKO account. He was on there. He was shouted out. He was tagged as well.
TKO acknowledged him.
Yeah. He's on the TKO account.
Unbelievable.
Not even WWE. He's on the head.
Great spot.
I mean, he does sing that theme with some passion though on that video.
Well, and he was there, and Triple H came out as well. So.
He must have been enjoying. He must have been loving that.
That was a big moment.
But did you think Triple H also looked really freaking tiny in comparison to Randy Orton?
He did, but that comes with his health, and he's has to.
It was just a funny visual. Like Randy almost towered over him at one point. It's like flipping out. Times have changed.
Yeah.
But I love having Triple H involved in segments anyway. It just adds a bit of weight, a bit of gravity to the storyline that's being told. So, but yeah, it sounds like Kevin Owens is entering into a different kind of heel that we haven't seen from him before, which I suppose feeds into kind of his return at some point down the line. But we don't know when that's going to happen. But yeah, hell of a card upcoming.
Well,
hell of a card.
Well, wasn't that the announcement that him and Kevin will be a crown jewel? No,
don't know if that's been announced, but let's just bring the card.
You want him, you got him.
Bring the card up for us, Jado. We'll run through the.
So of course we've got.
Let's go to the bottom first. We'll start from the bottom.
Work our way up.
That's it.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got the first big program.
So these are the ones that have been officially announced.
Yeah, these aren't in order, in no particular order, but we've got.
Card is complete, but yeah, Bronson Reed against Seth Rollins. What do you guys think about that one so far?
Really enjoyed the build up so far.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the continuation at Raw as well. Yeah, it's it's obviously bigging up the feud quite a lot. Rollins has got a point to prove since Bronson took him out.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to deliver, man.
It's going to be carnage.
Yeah.
Did you see the Raw segment with him on Monday?
Yeah.
Well, literally yesterday, since we've been recording. But it happened again. I mean, there was just another... it's Rollins came out, obviously just started bigging up the promo, the fight, can't wait for this, I'm going to take Reed out, I'm hunting a monster. And then Reed was backstage and said, if you want me, come and get me.
And there was a big brawl.
Massive brawl.
Big brawl in the parking lot.
Yeah, Rollins did the curb stomp on the car, and then it was it was funny. They literally took them up into this lorry. So Bronson picked Rollins up into the lorry, and then just absolutely almost F5'd him for a bunch of tables in the car park.
Jeez.
So yeah, carnage again. And it was funny because you heard Adam Pearce in the background. Did you hear him? He was just like, no. The drama, the absolute drama.
Well, yeah, I like the way they've been building that feud. To be fair with them, we didn't throw the reel up in the end, but the reel that we had saved was actually where he was coming through last week on Raw. He was running through the back, and he smacks him with the suitcase, and then just runs out, and then like you say, Pierce again comes running out, wagging the finger and all that sort of stuff. Oh man, it's
a brilliant build.
It's been good,
but again, they haven't had long to build this. This has been the fourth week.
Third week, I think.
Obviously, he took him out ages ago. So, what do you think is going to be the outcome? Reed against Rollins. What's going to happen?
I think a win for Bronson Reed will do him huge favours. But Seth Rollins is at that place where a win or a loss wouldn't affect him really massively.
Yeah. Which in my opinion, makes me think, actually, I think this could be a big stepping stone for Reed to actually establish himself as a main event star moving forward, a guy that's going to be a little bit of a threat to the main event scene. So I think Rollins takes a clean pin from him.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it.
We'll see.
That's the thing. It's going to give it a different wrinkle, I guess, because he is. It will be the first time they've kind of had like a clean match, so to speak. You know, there's been a lot of backstage antics and things like that. So we'll see how the match goes. Like you say, I think it will raise him up to another level. We'll get a win over Rollins.
And it will be carnage. I think the match will be carnage based on the promos and the way they're building so far and the way the story arc's going. They can't have anything less than a match. Maybe it'll just end in a no contest. Maybe they'll just absolutely destroy each other like they have been until actually neither of them can get back up again.
Yeah. It's fair that you've mentioned that. Actually, they can't level down from what they've already done. There's already been a certain level of kind of animosity and kind of aggression that's been shown in these short segments and these matches that they've had together. So this definitely needs to take that up a level.
If it works out clean, then obviously Bronson clean win. But obviously my mind works in mysterious ways.
Gorgeous. What are you thinking?
What if Punk makes an appearance and costs Seth?
Yeah, that could happen. Because I still think that's where they're going for Mania. I still think next year we're going to see Rollins against Punk because that's the match that never quite happened.
They're still teasing it.
Yeah.
They're still teasing it.
Their business isn't
The slow burns are everywhere.
Yeah. But let's see what happens with that. But that's going to be a good one. Then we've got the ladies title for title. So I know I've been talking about these Crown Jewel Championship matches, right? Obviously the Saudi things, so champ versus champ. This being the first one, Nia Jax against Liv Morgan for the women's belt. My opinion on it is beginning to sway as the weeks have gone on. I don't know if WWE are taking me down a certain road that maybe I shouldn't drive down, but I'm thinking I'm going there.
Okay, tell me.
I think, because we've been very split, all of us, about how these are going to finish, right?
Yeah.
So we've been saying, well, actually, they can't be clean because then it's going to devalue one of the belts. I think this will be the match where it won't be clean. Nia Jax and Liv Morgan, because I just think Rhea Ripley's going to get involved somehow and cost Liv.
I have thought that. I don't think that a champion versus champion match should end clean, but for the sake of them bigging up the Crown Jewel Championships, a clean finish would be an ideal. There's going to be a distraction in both of them. If there isn't, they've got to pull off something phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nia Jax and Liv, though, I think the way this program is going down, they've kind of separated them out. I mean, Liv Morgan has still got, and appearing in a lot of segments with Judgment Day, the Rhea Ripley beef, Dominic Mysterio. That's where she is right now. Hasn't really had much involvement with Jax, apart from a couple of run-ins in the past couple of weeks and a couple of the episodic shows. But I just think this is a way of Rhea Ripley costing Liv again, costing her the Crown Jewel belt. Their rivalry will then go to another level. Nia Jax will get on with business.
It could go another way. That's a very good way to put it. It could go another way. We could see where Nia Jax does win, and Nia Jax might be exhausted. The next thing you know, Tiffy time,
cash in.
I was thinking
that's the other side,
saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what if she costs the title, the title within Crown Jewel, but maybe. Well, they kind of been hinting on the fact that maybe Tiffany Stratton is going to cash in and she's going to do it on Nia. What if she did it the other way and they're both holding the titles? They're holding them side by side.
We've literally covered all angles here, boys. There's no way they could not do one of them options.
Or again, the fantasy booking. Maybe Raquel Rodriguez has a confrontation with Nia, gives her a snuff, and then we see Tiff come out.
Yeah,
you never know.
There's a lot of options.
A lot of options there, but either way, I don't see a clean finish in that one.
The layers are there. But yeah, look forward to that. Is this the next match?
Well, no, it's not the next match. It's a confirmed match. This isn't in order.
Let's come to that. Scroll up.
Confirmed matches.
Let's scroll up.
Confirmed matches. You're talking about.
That's the first one.
You're talking about this one, right?
No, not even that one.
Okay, that's it. That's what's on.
When was this published? Go up.
Sorry, we're looking at the
October 28th.
Yesterday. There has been more added.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, there's a big one title that we haven't really touched on in the past couple of weeks, which I think is actually criminal.
Sorry. Yes.
The US belt.
The US title belt. Now, so we're going back to SmackDown.
That is featuring, the current US title belt is currently being held by, in my opinion, the breakout star of the year.
Yep.
Probably the breakout star of the last couple of years.
Yep.
In LA Knight.
Yeah.
His mic skills are so good. Albeit, I think now he's probably getting a bit stale now. I think they need to do something with him to actually really then elevate him. They've obviously put the US title on him long term, obviously a long time coming. But I think obviously there's a triple threat match here now, yeah, between LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, and Andrade for the US title belt at Crown Jewel. But Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, their best of 7 series that they've been having on SmackDown over the past few weeks has been phenomenal. I don't know if you've seen any of their matches they've been having.
We've been, criminals.
We have.
Not to mention it previously, if I'm honest. We touched on it, I think we touched on it a fair few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think we were on match 2 or 3.
We mentioned it, but they're now... It was great the way they did it because they were 3-3, and then obviously on SmackDown, LA Knight was supposed to be the special guest referee, but he just floored them both. So there was
BFT'd them both.
Yeah, finished them both, which I saw happen in that set of the triple threat match. But I think get the US title off of LA Knight. Get it off him, yeah. Have him do other things to raise his stock a bit more, build his character a bit better because he's got so much damn potential, and I really want to see him utilised better.
Yeah, I think Melo takes that in my prediction.
You predicting Carmelo?
Yeah, he doesn't miss.
I would like to see that. I think Carmelo Hayes is a star waiting to happen. You ever seen much of Carmelo?
That's what I was just going to say. I'm familiar with Andrade. I'm not as familiar with Carmelo.
It's just been brutal.
But I have been seeing some of the segments with these matches here.
Yeah,
I definitely need to go back and probably catch up on it. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff, people talking about it online. So this seems to be the most interesting, one of the things that's a bit more out there with some of the things that are happening on WWE right now.
Like even their backstage segments, like they just hate each other, Carmelo and Andre. You could just feel it. They're doing so well in selling that rivalry together. And then you add LA Knight to the mix. But yeah, I mean, I'd like Carmelo Hayes to win from a fan's perspective because I like the guy. I think he's got something about him. But it's unpredictable. We don't know on that one. But
no,
it's actually been so good to watch the best of 7. It's a shame we haven't spoken about it more. But those 3 guys again, workhorses, going to put on a great match. It's going to be triple threat matches are always fun.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, look forward to that one. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win that one, AJ? What's your prediction? We've both said Hayes. Speaking from someone who maybe has not seen as much, but looking from outside in as a neutral, knowing what you know about them all.
I don't know. I agree. I like your take on LA Knight, to be honest. I think that since he had his ascension when we went to Money in the Bank when it was in the UK, he's been on a steady rise, but I think that he's not done a lot to elevate himself much more beyond that point from when we saw him. I think that he's just sort of been going like steadily up, and then he's sort of, I don't
leveled
really know. Yeah, he's sort of panned out. So maybe you are right in terms of they need a bit of a change. Like I say, I don't really know that much about Hayes, so I'd have to educate myself on that. But I've always thought that Andrade is entertaining. So
he's a talent.
Yeah,
he's a talent.
I like him. So if they put the title on him, I've got no issues with that whatsoever.
It is tough for LA Knight though. It's difficult because his ascension was so quick. I think there was a promo that he did last year on Raw that just took off on social media, and then all of a sudden he was the guy that everybody.
He was sort of thrust into the limelight.
Like you said, when we went to the O2 to see Money in the Bank, that was when Noise was first. He was really. He had a massive fan reaction when he came out, didn't he?
We had the talk with Taker, and he asked the crowd. He said, "Who's everybody liking? Or like, who do you want to see? Who should be having the next run of the title?" Everyone's chanting LA Knight.
LA Knight.
I think that even from his thing, he was sort of just saying like LA Knight. Like, but he was.
How long can he keep his ascension going for? He's now flatlined, but it's difficult when you're in that position. But he reminds me, he's like a blend of The Rock and Stone Cold put together. Like a Rock and Stone Cold cocktail. Like the leather jacket that you wear is similar to Stone Cold. His finisher is like the mixture of a stunner and a rock bottom.
But that's the thing. It works, and then it could be a bit of a hindrance as well.
Yes,
with that, because it's not you're using. He's doing those things, and he's controlling the crowd. His promo skills, his mic skills are wicked, but at the same time, it's like, is his style that independent from those people? I don't think he wants to. Even though those are two legends, it's good to have your name up against them, but you don't want to be like the guy who's.
You don't want to be a mimic.
Yeah,
I don't think. I think he's not a mimic in his own right, though. I mean, he's essentially been the same person. Let's not go into maximum male models.
Yeah, that was when he came up from NXT.
But, you know, thank you very much, Vince.
Yeah. Triple H, he sorted that out.
His TNA work.
Yeah.
Essentially the same person. And obviously his NXT work as well, essentially the same person.
Yeah.
I was going to say the WWE is making so much off endorsements, man. They need somebody to sell Slim Jims.
Yeah. Well, he's your guy at the moment.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
Slim Jim.
Slim Jims have been around for so long, man. And it's always been involved in wrestling as well, like even back in the day.
It was Macho Man, wasn't it?
Macho Man used to do the Slim Jim. Yeah. Crazy.
Snap off Slim Jim.
Have you ever tasted one?
No.
It's basically just a pepperami, isn't it?
Pepperonis are great though, yeah, but Slim Jims look longer.
Yeah.
And they snap, don't they?
Do you like it long?
Steady. Dodgy topic. But yeah, moving on, J-Dog. There's another women's, obviously, match. You got a 4-way for the tag team, WWE Women's Tag Team Champions happening. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defending against Damage Control. Mid 4, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. I think this is just going to be I think the build to this has been a bit poor, to be honest with you. I think it's just a way of getting the women on the roster.
You mentioned a couple of weeks ago that that's getting a bit stagnant, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, well, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, turned up at NXT.
Did they?
As well throughout the week, yeah.
Okay,
I believe at Halloween Havoc.
Oh, Halloween! That was on Sunday. That was a pay-per-view on Sunday, wasn't it, for NXT? Halloween Havoc.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it.
It was either that or it was the NXT prior.
Right.
But yeah.
Cargill and Belair to retain, I think, on that.
Yeah, I want to see a split. I mean, I talked about this before, but maybe it's not yet.
I think
maybe this causes a split.
I think that's coming.
Maybe see a swerve. I want to see a big card at Crown Jewel, and that would, for me, that again, fantasy booking JD, that would happen. But maybe they retain.
I personally don't think this is the card to do it on. I think obviously women being on a card in Saudi Arabia is quite special because obviously you know what the Saudis are like with the female side of the world.
Yeah, they haven't had that many women's matches over there.
Yeah, which is a shame, but it's brilliant that the women are being showcased on the card regardless in that country. So that's a massive step, obviously.
Big step.
Yeah.
So I think that's a way of making a statement to have that match on there. And then coming on to some of the bigger ones. So yes, you are right. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, which we briefly touched on before. That's official. Triple H made it official. But great. I think the way they've approached it is brilliant because on SmackDown, that promo that Randy Orton had at the beginning with Triple H, it was almost like he was begging him to give him the match. Which I found a little bit... The Triple H just didn't want to give it to him.
No.
Because he's saying,
then gave in.
Yeah. He's saying, like, Kevin Owens is a different guy now. He's a different guy. He's protecting Randy from Kevin Owens. So it's like, are we going to see a character shift in Kevin when he comes back?
I mean, Randy Paul Levesque him. Yeah, in his promo.
Explain yourself.
Am I speaking to Triple H or am I speaking to Paul Levesque?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to make the mention of the shovel.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
The shovel.
You never seen the memes of Triple H with the shovel?
You guys have so many memes.
Have you never seen? Well, yeah, obviously. Have you never seen the? There's a meme from years ago where it's like from SmackDown versus Raw or something, and Triple H is doing the Too Cool entrance. Right. So it's like a custom entrance, and he's like got the shovel and he's dancing and he's like doing the shovel but burying.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah, it's a meme.
It's a meme. It's a meme.
Yeah, it's a meme. It's a meme. He hasn't done it in real life. No, it's a meme. It's from a create an entrance from one of the games.
Okay,
it's basically because
and it went viral.
He always used to hold the sledgehammer like this, didn't he?
Sledgehammer, yeah.
But basically, obviously, because everyone always used to say he was Vince's boy. Basically, growing up, they were basically saying he always used to bury all the talent. Like obviously, Booker T was the guy who he was coming up. He was supposed to be doing his thing. There's loads of people. He's like buried loads of people, like when he had the thing with Steiner and then Goldberg,
Sting.
So there's the names are low. There's loads of them, but I think
it's a bit harsh.
There's always been like memes over the years. There's a picture where Triple H is holding the.
It was always the old WCW guys as well. Vince always wanted to make the point of
damn right.
We will always be superior.
Damn right.
Regardless.
Damn freaking
regardless of the ratings of over 18 weeks.
WCW had some stars, but WWF always reigned supreme.
But some of the biggest guys in WWE came from
Goldberg
WCW.
Goldberg came over for a year and then off. Hulk Hogan came back home. Kevin Nash came back home. Scott Hall came back home. They all ended up coming back.
Yeah, but what about like people like Jericho?
Chris Jericho, yeah, but actually WWE made him a star because he wasn't being used properly at WCW.
But that's what I'm saying. He was kind of
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They did take them guys,
came from WCW anyway. Another topic
from another topic, yeah.
But yeah, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, who knows how that's going to finish? Because again, there's all kinds of story arcs coming off the back of that. But for me, it looks like Owens will probably get the win because it sounds like they're giving him a bit of a nudge.
Yeah, I mean, well, his contract's up by the end of the year. There's been talk of him. Obviously, naturally, there's talk between him and other companies. They're bubbling about on the dirt sheets.
He'll go nowhere.
Which will go nowhere. And obviously, there's been talk that he has signed a new contract as well.
Yeah.
But naturally, when someone's contract is up and they're a big name in WWE, they get more telly time.
Yeah, that's it.
But now is a time in Kevin's career where we need to see the prize fighter.
Yeah.
Return.
I mean, Cody and Gunther, I suppose, feeds into this for me because this is where I'm saying that perhaps this will be a clean finish. Right?
Okay.
I'm changing my mind on it. Again, I think it's just going to be a hell of a match. It will be a hell of a match. There will be a lot of near finishes. There'll be a lot of close calls. The crowd will be, oh wow, they'll have all of that. I think Cody will get the win. I think he will get a clean win on Gunther somehow, 1, 2, 3, but it will be one of the hardest fought matches he's ever had all year.
Yeah.
But then I think the show will close, or the segment will close, whatever main events it, with Kevin Owens attacking Cody after the win. He will demolish him. He will come out and he will just he will rain holy hell over him, and then that will set up a feud for Owens and Cody for the title going into Survivor Series.
Okay.
That's my prediction. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler. All right, Heyman.
That's what I think.
That's interesting.
Also, do you find it funny that Cody and Gunther are the two current champions, right? Do you remember when we went to Box Park to watch the Rumble 2 years ago?
Yep.
Who were the final two in the Rumble?
Cody and Gunther.
How the hell did you remember that? I wouldn't have remembered that.
Hey, random stats. But always think, for me, the Rumble was always a glimpse into the future.
Cody's chest. In that was Red Raw, man.
Oh, it was, mate.
But we moving on. There is another match.
What match have we got here?
Well, we've got that's been announced.
Yeah, the Bloodline.
OG Bloodline versus the Bloodline.
The Bloodline, yes, that's the big one, the cinema of WWE right now, as we know. So it's interesting. Now, what do you think they're going to do with this? Because they've announced it as a 6-man tag match. So it's clearly going to be Reigns and the Usos versus the Bloodline, they've said. But they haven't actually stated who is going to be in the match for the Bloodline at the moment. You've got Solo, Tonga Loa, or Fatu.
Can I make a suggestion? Can we speak about this after we recap SmackDown and Raw? Just because it's a match which we're going to speak about. There's been a lot of build up and we've missed a lot to get to this point.
Massive.
I think it's worth mentioning. What's been going on
for sure.
Yeah,
you brought it up, J-Dog.
No, absolutely. I did. Sorry.
Brought it up.
Yeah. I made a blunder there.
So SmackDown, we obviously had the unbelievably beautiful moment at the end of the show, didn't we?
We did. Yeah.
Which fed into what was the main event of the show.
You were all over the group chat the moment when... I know that was what you wanted to share as a spoiler. Have you guys watched it? Have you guys watched it? Because I'm going to start throwing some spoilers in it.
I was just waking up, just like slowly on my Saturday morning, just like getting my bearings about where I actually am. Am I going to work?
Sometimes I feel like you should have already watched it.
Yeah, I
didn't. I didn't.
He gave us 2 hours, didn't he? He was like, "You got 2 hours.
You got 2 hours. Then I'm going to start posting links."
Which means you got till now. To watch it from start to finish. Before I start posting the spoilers.
I think I knew what it was going to be when you done it. I just didn't know how it was going to be done. So.
Yeah, it was done absolutely beautifully. Is the only word I can describe it. So we had obviously the main event, didn't we, for the WWE Tag Team titles?
Yeah, obviously Motor City Machine Guns won their number one contenders triple threat.
Yes,
and then that
Bloodline was first. Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. Yes.
No, yeah, and then Bloodline came out and essentially challenged them. Well, they challenged each other for a match right there and then.
But that was just done so well.
Yeah.
So well. I mean, you got to think as well, right? These Motor City Machine Guns, they've been in WWE for 3 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yep.
2 weeks they've been in WWE, right? And then they are already main event in an episode of SmackDown with what is probably and intertwining with the biggest storyline that there is, that probably has been in many, many years, and the biggest storyline in WWE right now. Intertwining with it, not in it, but they're amongst it.
They're loosely affiliated. Yeah.
I mean, what a statement! What I mean, they've been booked to the moon.
Did you hear about Motor City Machine Guns prior to WWE?
I know they've had a hell of a run beforehand in all the indies.
And obviously in TNA as well. Big impact there. Literally.
No pun intended.
But they are a team that
did you? Sorry on that. Did you? Hey, you got the applause. Yeah, but Solo broke the fourth wall on SmackDown with that, didn't he?
He did.
When he came out to confront them.
Yeah.
He said, we heard what kind of impact, but he said it with like such... Whatever you call the word, but the crowd all fed into it and heard it.
Of course, because Solo's coming into his own now. But obviously naturally we had that match, and then Motor City Machine Guns defeated the Tongans.
They got the win. They got the win.
God.
They got the win. Hell of a match. Not a clean finish, clearly. No, it's never going to.
But there was a hell of a lot of things going on. We had Jimmy first.
Yep.
Then Roman.
Mm-hmm. So the OG Bloodline came out to help them, didn't they?
Yeah. And then right at the end, as I thought, Jay was going to cost. Gonna put the nail in the coffin for them.
Deal the damaging blow. Yeah.
That's it. But then the best part of it.
Karma came back around.
It did come back around. But great match. Motor City Machine Guns, new WWE Tag Team Champions, which was just, again, it is insane to even think about. You know, I wouldn't have even in my right mind thought when this tag title tournament was kicking off, Motor City Machine Guns are going to win this sticking thing. I just did not see it coming.
No, but then obviously they played that well, and now the SmackDown Tag Team division is going to go into its own its own right there. A very good team to hold the titles due to their historical career prior to WWE.
So where have they been before?
They've been to TNA.
Yeah.
I think they've been in GCW. But I would say GCW is more of an indie.
Yeah.
That's coming into its own. Obviously, you've got Matt Cardona there, which is obviously Zack Ryder. He's there as well. But anyway. But he's, they've been around on the indies, but more noticeable TNA for them for sure. They've been around for a hell of a long time, and they've now got their dues very, very quickly.
Very quickly. There's been a lot of online rumblings about them about how much they deserve this opportunity.
Absolutely.
And obviously, I mean, I don't know all their timeline, all their history. Yeah. But I know that they are backed.
If I could pick tag teams on one hand that aren't in WWE that would come in and make an impact.
Really?
It would be Motor City Machine Guns for sure.
I think it's just they obviously just need to have the direction of what they're going to do after that, because if they're going to come in there and they're going to, they've secured the title straight away, what's next?
Well, exactly, and we don't know what they're like on the mic just yet. I mean, obviously, Triple H clearly does because he's seen them in other promotions, and a lot of people have
faith in them, obviously. Yeah.
So we'll see. You just don't know how when you come into WWE, it's such a different vibe because you're appealing to such a bigger audience. All the indies, they're very hardcore loyal wrestling fans. When you come in as WWE, you come in mainstream, you're on freaking Netflix in a couple of months. It's a whole different world.
Yeah.
But Triple H backs them, and fair play. Hopefully they get their dues. But that then led into the end segment of SmackDown.
Yep.
A beautiful moment.
The Usos are
Jey Uso in the ring,
hugging it out.
Jimmy Uso coming in, stepping in. We all saw it coming. We knew it was building to it, but when they hugged it out, the pop that got.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man.
And then you see Roman come out as well, sort of with a look on his face as if to say...
Stared him down.
This is what he wanted, but he's still a bit cautious. Now, there has been a few post...
No spoilers on this show, Jay.
Recording. No spoilers on the show. I mean, it's out there. It's out there. It's on the socials, man.
I know.
It's everywhere.
Do you think this was intentional, by the way?
I think, obviously we know that they're pre-recording SmackDown, right?
Because they're flying out to Saudi.
Obviously breaking the fourth wall there. Yeah. But we know this. We know we might see something like this on the next episode. Yeah. But here we have the OG Bloodline. After SmackDown, they're all in the ring. Jay comes into the ring, hits the yeets on the turnbuckle.
Yeah, look at them, all three of them in the ring again, just like old times.
Well, they're hashing it out.
Happiness.
Roman says yeet.
That's all it takes, just a yeet to get the crowd popping.
And here we go.
He throws up the one.
Yeah,
he's acknowledging.
We the ones.
He's stepping
here
up.
Here we go.
Stepping up.
The slow.
Got those Jordans.
I'm the man. Walk. To the centre.
That's it.
Up it goes.
Yeah, but what a visual.
Yeah.
And to think, it's not like these guys have been away for ages. Like, the Bloodline finished in April for Mania.
Yeah, but Jay was already away from then.
August, September. We're talking about 7 months. That's how much of an impact these guys have made. The people are so happy to see that visual again.
Well, you got to remember, it was just It was just Roman and Jimmy.
Yeah, the match in Mania.
Yeah.
Which disbanded everything.
Yes. But that'll be next week, I'm sure. But for me, just to start, I mean, for SmackDown, considering that's 2 weeks away from a pay-per-view, we've still got one SmackDown left before we get there. Historically, those SmackDowns where you're a couple of weeks away from a pay-per-view, you just drop little bits in. I just thought that was so top-notch, so impressive for an episode of SmackDown in that timeline. I thought that was one of the best ones of the year. The way it finished, just the way all the storylines intertwine, the creative direction of all of it, just to bring it all together at the end, I thought it was so good.
I mean, I've said this before, but SmackDown for me is the number one show at the moment. Even though this storyline is feeding into Raw as well, which we will pick up when we get to that very, very shortly.
Well, we might as well do it now.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have to school me on this because we're recording earlier, so
there's not tons. I mean, obviously you've got the match happening at Crown Jewel, right? It's kind of feeding into them, but Sami Zayn has started making appearances backstage.
Yeah. So there was a segment where Jimmy links up with Jay, and they're walking through and they're looking for Sami.
Yes.
Jimmy's looking for Sami, and then next thing you see is they go out into like some sort of outside area, and Jimmy's sort of like giving him asking where Sami is, because in the background you've got Solo talking to Sami, and it looks like they're having a jolly old conversation.
Having a jolly chat. They're keeping us guessing, aren't they? Because then there was also a segment before there where Sami was talking to Jay backstage, and he was saying, look, you shouldn't really be involved in any of this. It's not your problem anymore. You shouldn't be involved in the Bloodline business. So he's almost shying Jay away from the whole thing.
Yeah. But then Jay firmly retorts and says, this is family.
Family business.
Family business. You wouldn't understand.
That's it.
But then obviously we had, Sami's involvement with the Bloodline as the honorary use before, and you the twos, we the ones.
So will that be how it finishes at Crown Jewel? Maybe Sami Zayn will be the fourth man to then go up against the Bloodline altogether.
Well, I don't think it's been pitched as a. I think it's been pitched as a 3 versus 3 at the moment.
It just says 6-man tag. Yeah,
but that could change.
But all their faces are on the graphic. Look, all 4 of them are on the right.
Yeah, I mean,
only 3 of them on the left.
You can't. If it was Solo and Tama and Tonga against Roman, Jimmy, and Jay, you can't leave out Jacob Fatu off the visual, man.
There's a space right there, right above
Roman, right above Jay. There's also right above Jay, and right next to Jimmy. There's a spot there.
Bring back Rikishi.
Bring back Rikishi.
Rikishi, the fourth man.
Well,
what a guy, man.
They're teasing there could be a Sami there. Sami could be a fifth.
Yeah.
On there, maybe Sami turns on Jay and turns heel and joins these guys as an honorary use. You don't know.
So much fantasy.
However, we do know kicking about, again breaking the fourth wall, Zilla Fatu is a free agent at the moment.
Zilla Fatu.
And Hikuleo, aka Tala Tonga, which WWE have attempted to trademark at the moment.
Yeah.
He is signed.
Has he actually signed?
No. Yes, he's signed. He's ready. There's been talk of him being assigned to the NXT brand.
Okay.
I don't see any reason for him to be there.
Right.
If I'm honest with you, I think it's just been put there as a sort of to generate a bit of misdirectional buzz. Online. Look. We're not stupid. We know WWE play mind games with the dirt sheets, man. Dave Meltzer's a big sort of critique of the brand, and he gets fed stories that aren't essentially true.
Try and swerve things.
Plants, but we could see some things culminate at Crown Jewel. We might see a continuation of the Bloodline. We might move into season 5.
Move into season 5. Yeah. Survivor Series, I think, is the ultimate build though for War Games.
Yeah, all of this is it's a precursor to Survivor Series, really.
Yeah, and then what happens at Survivor Series, that will then be a new chapter.
Yeah,
I want to. Obviously, last week I talked about The Rock, and I wanted The Rock at Crown Jewel. Seeing a match like this and seeing how it's played out, I now I kind of swayed my opinion a bit. Maybe I don't think Rock needs to be involved, or if he is involved, maybe again JD's fantasy booking brings out a new member of the Bloodline to assist someone somewhere.
I still don't think that's going to be a Saudi moment for me. I think they'll do some. I think that's going to be down the line. I think The Rock will appear, but like we've said in previous weeks, at the right time. Not too soon.
I'm happy with this match being announced and no involvement.
It's going to be a great match
on the card. You know, that's my opinion. But ultimately, you know, you never know what's going to happen, and that's the thing with WWE right now. It's so much less predictable, which is a double.
Great cinema, great story, great match. Whenever these guys are all in the ring together, they have great chemistry. So even the in-ring action that we're going to see is going to be great. Yep. And everything that Roman does out there just means something. He's so good, man. He's so good. So, yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, that caps off Crown Jewel. So there's plenty. It's a good card. I just hope it lives up to the matches that are on it. I still think the match of the night will be Cody and Gunther probably, or maybe the Triple Threat US match. This match will be more about storytelling. We'll see how it ends
and how it goes. And obviously, you know, Jay and Jimmy came face to face and they repelled. They repelled the Bloodline attack. Yeah. To kick it off. Obviously, we've got some clips here. We're not going to play them. Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. I think that was a banger of a match. Obviously, Sheamus always gives it the bangers. Obviously, we saw Sheamus defeat him.
This is on Raw, right?
Yeah. And obviously, later on during the night, Ludwig Kaiser put out again a banger of a promo just to go and show that he's one to watch in the future for me. I think when he breaks away from Gunther, he's going to be in his own right.
He just looks like the kind of guy you just want to knock the fuck out of. For no particular reason.
But also a guy you wouldn't want to mess with.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that he's obviously playing well into his character. So
great freaking heel, 100%. It works for me. I think he'll probably be one of the best heels there is. I think in about a year.
We need to put that face of, like, you know, the angry girl next to him when you see Ludwig.
Yeah, the one in the crowd.
He's like got the arms crossed.
Yeah.
But he's great on the mic as well, though, Ludwig. You know what I mean? His mic skills, he's good. He's just got something. There's something about him. It's good that they paired him with Gunther. But they're keeping him around. He's appearing more and more and more, Ludwig. Who knows? He might even get involved in the Cody Gunther fight. Well, potentially.
You do know that him and Gunther have been best friends since childhood, right?
Yeah, they come from developmental together.
You know, that's almost like a KO Sammy.
That's journey. That's a real on-screen relationship with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But there wasn't much else. I mean, to be honest with you, Raw had its bits. We don't need to go through absolutely all of it because it's not all of it's relevant to what's coming up at the weekend. So I don't want to go through every single detail. Maybe until we get to the other side. I think we've covered most of the Bloodline stuff. I mean, I think the other thing for me, just to touch on it, because there is some Judgment Day involvement in there. The main event was obviously hyped up to be, Dominic Mysterio is going to be going up against a former world champion. I don't really get why they did this, because surprise opponents should be a surprise. But it just turned out to be Damian Priest.
I kind of saw the predictability in this one, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I had a slight inkling it would be Damian Priest, to be honest with you.
But why not just say...
They had an opportunity to make... I mean, the reason why it doesn't make sense to me also is that, you know, we had this match not so long ago on Raw.
Yeah, exactly.
Why again?
But why build it up to be, it's going to be a special, surprise opponent for Dominic Priest? I know that Dominic was trying, the whole point of the match was Dominic, his story was that he wanted to demonstrate that he could have a match for the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah.
So he wants to fight someone to demonstrate that. So Adam Pearce made in the challenge, but Damian Priest just wasn't a surprise. They could have announced that match openly and said it's going to be Dominic Priest against Dominic Mysterio against Damian Priest in the main event of Raw next week, and that would still draw.
But this fed into mystery former world champion opponent. The reaction, that the crowd gave Damian Priest when he came out, I'm sorry to say, it was flat.
It was a little bit flat. It was a little bit flat in comparison to previous weeks. But again, I think because, like you rightly said, it was flat because the surprise perhaps wasn't what people expected it to be.
It was almost like a gotcha, bitch moment.
Yeah.
Which we saw 1,001 times before with Vince McMahon's era.
Oh yeah,
all the time. Likes
to
troll us, man. But it felt like a trolly moment for me personally. That's no knock on Damian Priest. I think he's phenomenal. I love my bisexual Undertaker, but he is
still don't.
Again, Absolutely.
Well, he was booked. He was booked to the moon though in the match.
Yeah,
so it was a great match. It was a great match. I mean, obviously Dom wins with a roll up, so it doesn't hurt him too much. That's how the match finished, with a Judgment Day distraction. But he cleaned up afterwards. Did you see him?
Oh yeah,
smacking Dominic Priest with that chair over and over again. That must have been painful for him.
I think I'll have to catch this.
Yeah, that's how it finished. It was just another way of showing Priest's, I suppose, his dominance amongst all of them.
It's strange that you mentioned that though, because I thought the same. They kind of made a point of that even on the socials when we kind of reposted it on the story. Mystery kind of opponent. You're serving it up like something is going to happen, and then it's just like you say, the balloon kind of pops. It goes a little bit flat.
Yeah,
so
a bit like the Crown Jewel Championship. Yeah, we'll see.
So you want that big ghastly belt? Filled with diamonds.
Have you seen the way they've been showing that being carried around in cases every single week?
Yeah,
those two blokes have been carrying that case around for nearly 4 weeks straight now.
How much do you think that thing weighs? Because
what's massive? The belt is huge. Let's see if we can figure out. See if you can bring up how many carats that thing has got. If it's actually, I'll be intrigued.
Let's just have a look. Stats, Crown Jewel
title belt statistics. Is that actually a thing? Statistics, try
maybe.
this.
We'll see. But yeah, it's an absolute unit of a title.
Massive.
Obviously, when we went to one of the shows back in the day, we held the old World Heavyweight title, and that was heavy as it was.
The gold belt. Yeah.
This looks bigger than that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, here we go. Is this the title belt, or is this just talking about the championship?
It's that common professional championship created and promoted by the American promotion WWE.
It's just talking
history,
about
specification. No specification.
Yeah.
Never mind. I did type it, and then my mouse dropped.
It's all good.
It's a big thing.
It's huge.
It's a big freaking thing. But yeah, they're carrying it around in a briefcase. I just find it funny that the way these two guys are just walking around with this case, and they stop backstage and just open it and close it every half an hour,
just showing it off.
You just put it somewhere safe and just leave it there.
Would you really want to carry that round the next night?
Probably not. But I tell you what, it'll be a great piece. Maybe if we can get hold of the real thing, we can put it up along here. Maybe.
Well, you've got one belt. I've always wanted a belt, but
I
got the UK belt. Yeah.
I remember.
Let's throw a random one out here.
Go on.
A belt that you've always wanted to have in your possession.
A belt that I had in my possession from a very young age was the Attitude Era Eagle WWE Championship.
That's the classic.
It wasn't. I want to say about between 1998. I think it was about 1998. I got it.
The winged eagle.
The winged eagle, but not the full-on winged eagle. It was the rounded belt,
right,
but it still had the eagle on it. But the eagle wings wasn't poking out the belt.
Okay,
it was
so
the round one.
The Rock Austin kind of one, not the Bret Hart kind of transitioning.
No.
Shawn Michaels.
So. Funny story.
Kind of
funny story. Back in the day, when I started watching wrestling, I had a neighbour who was also into it around where I lived, and religiously every day would go and watch wrestling and play WWE games and WWF at the time. We used to fight bears and wildlife. But obviously we had the magazines. We had the WWF magazines back in the day. That's where we got the posters, and they had the WWE shop. This is pretty much before internet, really.
Yeah.
So you had to call up or mail order anything from the WWE shop at that time. One of them was the belt. It wasn't a great replica. I mean, it was Velcro straps and the obviously the
plates.
The plates were pretty good. They were plastic, but they were pretty decent. But the belt, the strap itself was sort of foamy, and you could, if I really wanted to rip it, it would rip. But obviously I was a very big fan then. I really loved. I think I've got pictures of me with that belt around me, in my pants.
Yours is the winged,
back in the day.
The winged eagle.
I think that's actually mine as well. If I probably had to get one, because it's like one of my favorite eras. I'm sort of between the winged eagle and the one that we were talking about, the World Heavyweight, the big gold, the big gold one. There's something nice about it that just looks very historic. The one from that era, that early kind of 2000s. But it would be my first choice is the winged eagle.
Mine would be the hardcore belt.
Well, that heavyweight championship belt, wasn't that? Oh, what's that again? The hardcore.
Okay.
The hardcore title. No, I'm joking.
So you've got one, and yours is quite interesting actually, because yours is a belt that isn't a belt anymore.
It's absolute waste of money. What the hell was the point?
No, I think that's well.
That maybe gives it more value.
It's a beautiful belt. It was the United Kingdom Championship.
There is definite value on that due to
Only around.
who's held that with proof.
Well, Gunther,
the
yeah.
signatures.
Gunther,
oh wait, hold on. Oh no, I'm talking about the signatures that you've got
signatures
on it.
Oh, I've got signatures on it. Yeah,
You've got a random signature on it, which kind of makes sense.
I remember who it is now. I've got AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Styles, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah.
And Finn Balor. I've got them 4. Yeah, good little meets and greets.
Two people there that haven't
the Rumble a few years ago.
2 people there that wasn't involved in NXT UK, but there we go. I think maybe Finn may have made one appearance there.
He did.
I think he did.
He came out at a takeover. He had a match against Jordan Devlin. Who is now in the Judgment Day.
JD Madonna.
It's full circle.
Yeah, it comes full circle.
But if I could choose a belt that I want in my position now, I think it would be from the current era, the Cody belt.
The Cody belt.
Yep. Oh no, I'm telling a lie. The Intercontinental Championship with the blue.
The blue. Okay, with the new one.
The new one, yeah. Once Jay won it, that belt, hands down my favorite belt.
Is that recency kind of bias in there?
It is a recent belt. The IC belt looks different now, but the blue gives it a bit of a nostalgic look from the.
I like the old school IC belt. I like the one where I like that one. The one with the white strap. So I love that one from that era where they were changing the strap colors. And I also like because that one they kind of had it a bit more squared off. But I also like the old school oval one, the one that was held by like William Regal and all those guys. And
this one,
I remember it. Yes,
yeah.
Yes, that is old. Yes,
the Rock had this.
Well, that's Attitude Era belt. That one.
Yeah.
But do you remember when the IC title was?
The Hollies had that as well.
Hardcore Holly.
Do you remember when the IC title was yellow?
Yes, yeah.
The yellow strap.
They had the yellow, they had the purple.
That was the Ultimate Warrior
they had
era.
the white, and then they had like a greeny teal kind of colour.
Yeah.
Even the orange one as well.
Yeah, some good ones.
I mean, this looks pretty decent, and this is what the Cody Rhodes white belt turned into, right? Cody's always had a thing of wanting nostalgic belts. That meant much to his family, but
yeah, one of them.
There's kind of different.
Loads of good belts.
Hands down. I'm really sorry, but this is my favourite at the moment, and I will.
He's going to end up with one of those.
There'll be another better one.
Without a doubt, I'm going to have one of these one day.
The new IC title you've just brought up there.
Yeah.
New IC title.
Definitely, man.
I'll have a winged belt, and I need to have that alongside with the Legacy UFC belt.
IC title, Legacy UFC winged hardcore title. We'll have them all on the walls. Definitely.
We will add.
That always makes me think of the Big Show for some reason.
The hardcore title. Well, he had it for a while.
He had it for a while. I remember he used to come out, obviously, because his arms are so big. He would wear it around his arm, didn't he?
It would just flap there, like on his thing.
The hardcore title for me is more Steve Blackman.
Steve Blackman, yeah. And then Kane had a while.
Mankind as well, Cactus Jack.
Road Dogg had it for a bit. Road Dogg, Jesse James, El Snow.
There was times where there was
Big
like
Boss Man. Rest in peace.
It was almost like a 24/7 title.
It's the same thing.
It's like a
just better,
much better.
Yeah, much better.
The most effed up pin I think I saw with the hardcore title was when Road Dogg took Hardcore Holly outside the arena, down the street, through a forest, into a lake, and pinned him in the lake. And then Hardcore Holly just basically nearly drowned, and you never saw him for a few weeks. That was how wild it got.
Jesus,
it was crazy. China held it for a while.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
Only women hardcore champion. Oh well, rest in peace. Loads of dead wrestlers now. It's a shame, and they've all gone through the hardcore title scene to get there. Probably led to their grave early.
Just such a passing comment.
Yeah,
loads of dead wrestlers.
Yeah, loads of dead wrestlers. Fucking hell. Anyway, we're reminiscing. But yeah, Crown Jewel ahead. I think it's a good card. I like the way they've shaped it and built it. Hopefully, it's not just going to be another Saudi pay-per-view that doesn't really mean much on the other side of it. I hope we come out of it with some good builds to Survivor Series.
We will.
I hope.
I don't think we're at a point of needing to hope now. I think whatever we see is going to be absolute cinema, and we are.
Yeah.
And and great matches.
Definitely. Bit of other news, just random news. There's some tag teams that are due to split up shortly. Backstage talk.
Give it to me. I haven't heard anything about this.
Two in particular.
New Day.
Nope.
No.
Well, storyline wise, yes, but ones that we haven't really seen coming. So DIY, so Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano are going to split again.
I've seen that coming, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the idea of Gargano as a single star anyway. I think he performs better with that, and storyline wise, it's better for him. Like NXT, he had a great run on his own. He was NXT champion for a long time on his own. So was Ciampa on his own.
Ciampa's the man for me. I want to see him have a very big singles push. I don't want it to be Miz's bitch.
Yes,
anymore,
I agree.
To be honest with you.
I agree. So that's rumoured. But then the big one for me is, and a long time coming, about time, there's more and more talk about the Street Profits and Montez Ford having a run on his own.
Montez has needed his own run for ages.
Yes.
I've been saying this.
Yes.
He is the guy. He performs on a different level. His in-ring ability is... He needs the push. He needs the singles push. He's been talking about it for a while.
One meme comes to mind where he sort of like shuffles behind Dominic, and then he sort of goes like that behind him. Yeah. And I've played it before in the chat. I will bring it up at some point. But yeah, he's just for me something. For me, Montez Ford is a future breakout star.
Good on the mic too.
He's great on the mic.
Good on the mic, and he performs like really, really well in the ring.
Yeah,
he makes it look very effortless.
His athleticism is off the charts, and he looks great. His entrance is brilliant as well. He like connects with the fans.
So is that confirmed?
It's looking more and more likely. He actually came out with a statement recently. So basically, they were thinking about doing it about a year and a half ago. So Montez Ford, they had these plans for him, but then he didn't want to leave Dawkins behind. Realistically, when you look at the Street Profits, you've got Angelo Dawkins, you've got Montez Ford. Only one of them is a star.
And that's no disrespect to Angelo Dawkins.
No disrespect to him.
I mean, but in terms of there was an outshining moment there. So maybe we see a heel turn from Angelo Dawkins
potentially, but
he's got that heel figure. He can play a heel persona. I think he's got that in the tank.
I don't think there'll be much more from him after that though. There isn't much more he can offer on his own.
Okay.
Montez suits being a face as well, so if that is going to happen, though, I think they'll keep him as a face.
Yeah. Bags of charisma, in-ring talent, incredible, great wrestler, great athleticism, great character, great on the mic. He's got everything. Montez Ford needs that push. I'm 100% with you, and I think. But now the statement he's just released is, look, I can't think that I'm going to be in this tag team forever. Actually, I've got to start thinking about myself now. So I think maybe whether that's a blur of the line moment feeding into a storyline they're trying to do, I think that will come soon.
Okay, so a bit of foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, yes, definitely. So yeah, two teams about to break up, but the tag team division is stacked right now. You think we've now got the Usos back together. We've got the new Bloodline tag team. Motor City Machine Guns now debuted, and you've got all the other teams below them. There's, we've got the White Six still knocking about. We've got the who are they beefing with? The
Final Testament,
Authors of Pain. There's so many teams now. Perhaps they do need to dilute it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, honourable mention of tag teams that are about to break up. NXT, the NXT champions, Nathan Fraser and Axiom. They've teased a bit of disdain between each other.
Okay.
I saw a little segment today. Didn't bring it up, but honourable mention there.
Honourable mention.
Didn't bring it up in the chat. But yeah, no. So yeah, we're lots of teams. I mean, we said we wanted action a few weeks ago, and I've had my fix.
Yeah, I've had it
thus far. We've no need to drastically change things. And again, there's been solidifying moments over the coming weeks of positives from the tag division.
Definitely, we'll see. But
I'm also all for some singles runs for specific people.
Specific people that come out of it for sure. And I think the ones we mentioned are definitely there. And then I suppose this is something that broke today. WWE have introduced their new development program, indie wrestling development program, which I think is quite interesting. It's a bit of a change of direction. It's almost like they tried to do this briefly, obviously with WWE NXT that they had, NXT UK. I think they planned to then do NXT Europe, and they were going to open NXTs all over the world, weren't they?
They came up and they were the rumor that I saw at the time, they were signing a lot of people to kind of have them on an exclusivity deal so that they wouldn't get kind of snatched up by other promotions. But I think that was the first time I saw that they were hinting around that. But that was like near around COVID.
That's it. Well, COVID shut that completely down.
Yeah,
because they were going to. Ultimately, that's what ended up with NXT UK shutting down.
Yeah.
I think the only reason they carried on with that is because they had a contract with BT and they can use their studios. Mm-hmm. But then when that came to an end, that shut that down. But then the plan was Europe. But now it looks like they've gone the other way. And it looks like they're now partnering almost with indies and kind of stamping, which I don't know how much I like it, because they're almost stamping WWE ID is what they call it.
On the indies, yeah.
On these indie outlets.
No, I see that, but can I just go from here? Just want to say, look, so this program is called WWE ID, which is short for WWE Independent Development.
Yep.
Okay, so I see this as sort of like an olive branch here out to the indies. There is a lot of wrestling promotions out there at the moment, which are gaining traction. You know, that aren't WWE. You know, let's be real. Only one real contender by default, AEW. That was sort of kind of nowhere near matching the popularity at the moment, but obviously a very big an internet prominent promotion. But there's others kicking about, and I think the more indie, the more independent wrestlers that we see get a break on WWE television, whether it be NXT, Raw, SmackDown, anywhere.
Yeah, but NXT was doing that.
Yeah, they've been doing it with TNA. They had Joe Hendry there. They had Hammerstone there.
Yeah, but it was
Jordan Grace.
It was pulling the wrestlers out of all of the indie promotions anyway. NXT was doing that.
Yeah.
But now what they're doing is they're now actually going to the indies and saying, "You're WWE ID now."
No, I think it's more of a program where the wrestler themselves join the program as opposed to the independent promotion itself.
The program has been launched to identify, support, and develop independent wrestling schools and wrestling talent.
Right.
So 5 independent wrestling schools have already earned the official designation of being WWID schools.
Okay.
WWE's put their stamp on them.
So they're not wrestling. So they're not wrestling promotions. They're wrestling schools.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Schools.
Yeah.
Which obviously feed into indies, but I mean, but they will also have indie shows off of the back of the schools. That's what indies do. Yeah. But notably, the ones that they've obviously stamped first of all are ones that they've already have on a contract. So you've got Cody Rhodes' school, you've got Booker T's school, you've got a few others there. There's 5 or 6.
Well, there's AEW wrestlers that are under Cody's school anyway. And, you know, you've got Jay Cargill, who has been at the Nightmare Factory, that is now in WWE now. Ethan Page again. Yeah. So you know, but there are some still in Cody's promotion that are in WWE or in AEW that are under his.
Well, one promotion has said the point of independent wrestling is for talent to discover themselves and develop themselves, to grow, to learn. If you claim to be an independent but are bound to $1 billion company, you're not an independent.
That is true. That is true. I've seen some talk and some comments on Facebook about you know, on this post that I shared that this is just WWE's way to again regain a monopoly on the industry,
to monopolise the market.
Which I do agree with, by the way.
Yeah. Another interesting fact on wrestling schools: Zilla Fatu is under Booker T's school.
Yeah, he's in there. Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, came up from there.
Yeah,
a lot of them do.
I saw a statement about this. I can't remember what wrestlers said it the other day. They were basically saying, you know, NXT is not really developmental anymore. NXT's become its own brand.
Their brand.
It's not really development anymore. But we've always known that, you know, WWE. I'm not going to say they poach, but like they've got their ties to some of these other independent or regional kind of wrestling schools that are, you know, so they can find new talent. What was the one on Netflix where they, you know, where Batista and Al Snow's school that. Southern flipping out. That was the old developmental division of WWE before NXT came. Orlando. OVW, yeah.
Ohio Valley.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. They had a massive 4 in there at one point. They had Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton, and
they had all the big guys there.
Yeah, that's where they came through.
The prototype John Cena.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Brock Lesnar as well. There's a story about Randy said a story about Brock. He'd done a jump over the top rope and he like stacked into some chairs, and then everyone just sort of like didn't know how to react. And then Brock turned around and got up, sort of brushed off and goes, "Bet you'd all like to see that again." Yeah. And then obviously that just broke the ice, and it was all laughter after that. But obviously when he came in, mental. But look again, you know, WWE have got a lot of I say a lot of ties. They've branched out. I mean, I mentioned Shinsuke Nakamura's going over to Noah for a match. I know JD, Jordan Devlin and Finn Balor turned up at a promotion recently as well, a very indie promotion. We've seen Triple H turn up in a UK based promotion before. We've seen Drew McIntyre turn up recently as well this year. They, you know, Progress. Yeah. And you've
Simon
seen
Miller. Big up Simon Miller. Simon Miller, new Progress heavyweight champ.
Simon Miller, if you're watching this,
we give you an up.
Yes.
Like that.
Golden up.
That's it. Golden up for Simon Miller.
Woo! Or a brown down.
but it just seems that they're more open now to do this kind of thing. Before.
It's good publicity for them. It makes business sense. There's no reason why they wouldn't. I don't know why Vince had a problem with it before.
Well, look what happened with Chris Jericho. He had the match against Kenny Omega under the Vince era, and that was Wrestle Kingdom, wasn't it? New Japan. Obviously, Jericho got the win there.
He did. It's good. They're branching off nicely. It's good that they're doing this. But I just think the WWE ID system, we hope that they're doing it for the right reasons and not just to monopolise. Hopefully we'll see some new talent coming through. That's what we want. But it's a good system. It's great. It gives, like you said, JD, it's an olive branch for talent to get perhaps a shoe-in, some financial help, some good training into the program and into WWE. Hopefully it works.
I think collectively it comes into, the popularity that wrestling as a whole is gaining at the moment. And I think it would just unnaturally elevate the whole industry as opposed to just WWE itself.
We hope.
I hope.
Who knows?
But I wouldn't see this happening under Vince again. I keep referencing it, but I think Triple H is pushing everything in the right.